Okay. So, I guess I'll get started pretty quickly here. Let me hear the okay to start, and then I'll get going. Okay. So I'll get started since I'm actually going to be using JRTA timing, since the only other run I have to compare mine to is by a Japanese runner who uses it. So I'll tell you when to start. In 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, so many people probably don't know what I'm playing. So I'm playing Star Ocean Blue Sphere. It is a direct sequel to Star Ocean 2, so we're going to be seeing the same cast of characters that you just saw for 5 hours. To give you an overview of the story, it takes place 2 years after Star Ocean 2, and the setup to it is Priestess gets a distress signal from Opera and Ernest. They're exploring some planet, their ship crash lands. We go to try to save them. Priestess gathers up the other people, minus Cloud and Rena, because they're off doing their own thing. And then our ship crash lands. So the beginning of the story is all about trying to find Opera and Ernest, and then try to get off the planet. So this is actually a Game Boy Color game, and unfortunately was never released outside of Japan. Now, you might be thinking, you said this is Game Boy Color. This doesn't look like Game Boy Color, and unfortunately, I have to play it on a Super Nintendo, purely because of speedrun reasons. I'll get more into that later on why I'm doing that, but you should take a look, like do a quick Google search of this game, and see how good it looks. It's a Game Boy Color game, and it looks and sounds pretty amazing. So, in case Shura mentioned Super Game Boy 2, so I'm not playing it on Super Game Boy 2, so there are some differences between Super Game Boy 2, so technically Super Game Boy runs a little bit faster, you get the point, but afterwards, like for my own run, I would be editing the time so that it kind of makes up for it. So this is going to be our party setup. We have access to most of the party members right from the get-go. But for the majority of the run, we're going to be using the same 3 people. So I chose Ashton, Diaz, and Celine. I know someone during the Star Ocean 2 run was a little sad to not really see a whole lot of Ashton, but you're going to see a lot of Ashton, you're going to see a lot of Celine. Fan translations. There is one fan translation that is 100% translated. Unfortunately, it's in French, and I don't know much French. People have tried to work on a English version, English fan translation, but nobody's ever completed one. People have started and then stopped. Yeah, Celine is very useful. Oh man, Celine is so useful. So if you like Ashton and you like Celine, this is the game for you. Are you sure this isn't Star Ocean 4 ported to Game Boy Color? In any case, to explain a little bit about the battle system, so it kind of looks reminiscent of Tales of Phantasia, if anybody's familiar with that. 2D side-scrolling, since it's a Star Ocean game, you know, I'm going to be controlling one character while the AI controls the other 2. There's some pretty unique things about it. At the bottom, you might notice a few HP bars if you were able to catch it. But during the next battles, look at the bottom and you can see multiple HP bars for the enemy, and those correspond to body parts. And when we drop a body part down to 0 HP, it will kill off that body part, and depending on what body part you kill, will have different effects. So probably the easiest thing to think of is if I kill something's legs, they're not going to be able to move, or they can't use leg-based attacks. Every monster is a little bit different in terms of what body parts they have and what happens when you kill off certain body parts. Something else. Well, continuing that point, if you destroy the monster's head or body part, or sorry, head or like main body, that will pretty much always kill them, no matter what the monster is. So we really don't care too much about killing off body parts. We really just want to kill the head or kill the body to end the fight as quickly as possible. So we crash landed, as I mentioned, and right now we're just trying to find information. We're trying to find Opera and Ernest. That old guy wants us to kill some mouse infestation problem that they're having. So we're gonna do that errand for him. Also, we steal this knife from the little girl. Little girls shouldn't be running around with kitchen knives. That sounds dangerous. Alright, onwards to our first dungeon. So most of the dungeons in this game are a lot longer than I'm going to make them out to be. The dungeons, the amount of space that the dungeons take up on the cartridge is about 33% of the entire cartridge. So that's a lot of space, and they did a really, really good job at making the dungeons feel a lot bigger than they end up actually are. So there are a lot of things I have to go through to open doors and things like that. So I'm actually going to be skipping a lot of it, just because I'm trying to get through it as quickly as possible. Yep, that was Leaf Slash by Ashton. In terms of killer moves, or we actually don't see a whole lot of them. You'll see a lot of Leaf Slash from Ashton, just because that's the killer move he starts out with, and it's actually pretty solid. I'll learn more later on as the game progresses, but I pretty much will only be using Leaf Slash with Ashton. So I just have to flip this switch to turn on some moving walkways so I can get to the end of the dungeon. And this, if you notice, this is we don't have random encounters for Blue Sphere, so this is, I believe, the first Star Ocean game that doesn't feature random encounters. So I'll be trying to avoid a lot of fights that I can, but at the same point, I do have to go out of my way sometimes to take some fights. So I'll try to fight one of these here by getting a preemptive attack on it. And another thing with combat that I'll be doing with Ashton a lot is there's a combo system. And how that works is when I land an attack, I will be able to attack again, and if I have timed it properly, the attack will continue. And it will continue until I either mess up the combo or my character gets tired. And I'll explain a little bit about characters getting tired later on. So the menu I've done there is just to put on a new weapon, turn off the AIs for everybody because I don't want the AI to get in the way of stuff. And here I'm going to try to learn, great, this is good, learning new spells with Celine. There's a few points in the run that I will have to go out of my way to do this, and it's random. we love RNG, so it's nice that she got it on the first spell cast, and that makes this boss coming up here a little bit easier to deal with if I've already learned Wind Slash. So here's the mouse infestation problem that we have to deal with. So I have to make sure to kill the hand on the right for this guy before I can really start using Celine. Trying to do combos with DS. That hand is not wanting to die. In terms of like what what body parts I can hit with the physical attackers, it's kind of random, so I got a little unlucky there. But then Wind Slash just finishes the job once I've killed the right hand. Yeah, there's a particular time you have to continue the combo. If you do it too early or too late, your combo drops, and you can't continue. In terms of keeping the combo going, I mentioned you can't do it forever. There's a hidden stamina bar that everybody has that doing actions in battle depletes it. So I can go until I run out of stamina, or until I mess up the combo, or the enemy dies. Picking up a new weapon for Ashton. And have to do some skilling up. So skilling up in this game is pretty... the skill system in this game is pretty complicated, so I have to actually refer to notes because I don't actually know Japanese. And I don't want to mess it up because making a small mistake can be costly sometimes. And once I'm out of this menu, I will kind of explain it a little bit. Okay, so characters in this game don't actually get experience or traditional level ups. In battles themselves just give you skill points, and you can spend those skill points kind of as a currency. So I can take those skill points I earn in battle and I can use them on anybody. It's not like characters themselves earn the skill points, the whole party does. So I'll be focusing pretty much all my skill points onto Ashton and Celine. Even though Diaz is in my party, I'm not actually going to be putting many skill points into him. In fact, the only reason I have Diaz in my party is because he starts out with the ability to run around as a field action. So every character kind of has certain field actions associated with them, just stuff they can do outside of battles. And Diaz starts out with the ability to run around, and as you might think, that makes things faster. Here I'm just buying some crafting items for later on. I'll get into that once I actually do the crafting. And I'm going to buy a bomb. Yeah, sorry for people who like DS. He's not that he's bad, it's just Ashton is better. But he is useful for the speedrun. Oops. Have to switch back to DS. So I can easily switch between my party members. So I had to switch to Celine there so she could bomb the debris out of the way so I could leave. This guy kind of gives us a hint about Ernest. And he tells us, basically we're told to go to the next city, Abyss City, which is through this forest. Have to slash these bushes out of the way. And there's a bee hidden in this bush, so you have to fight it. These dokos, as they're called, are really annoying actually, just because they're super easy to kill, but if I don't get a preemptive attack on them, then all they do is just kind of run around the screen and they're hard to hit. Okay, this is going to have to make sure to avoid... There's a single pixel that's moving around on that screen, and it's actually an encounter, and it's really annoying to avoid just because it's kind of hard to see. And it's another annoying fight that the enemy is so small it's actually hard to hit him. So I really want to make sure to avoid that fight just because it's a bunch of time. So here I am in Abyss City. I want to kind of continue on, but the leader or mayor of the place wants us to do him a favor. We have to go kill a quote-unquote land dragon, and we have to bring back proof that we've done it. Okay, now coming out, this is another... This is what I meant. I was trying to avoid the ant, and this is what I mean by it having an annoyingly small hitbox. If you can't see it, it's that little black dot right there. You know what? I'm just gonna kill it with Celine. So that was just a time waste. It only gave me 3 SP, which is really small amount. Gonna kill a monkey that drops from the sky. So you can keep the combos going pretty long. At the start of the game, you can generally get about 6 or 7 hits off as part of the combo before Ashen starts getting tired. Okay, now remember this enemy. So this is Yadoku, and it drops, oddly enough, one of the best items in the game that I will not get. So it drops an item called the Blue Sphere, and it drops it at such a low rate that I didn't even know. Jeez, this guy does not want to die. It drops the item at such a low rate that I've never actually seen it before. The only reason I know about it is because the TAS, there's a TAS of this run, and they kill that enemy one time to get that particular drop. And if I could find some way to get the Blue Sphere from that enemy, then I could run this game on a Game Boy Color or Game Boy Advance, so we could see the lovely color. Yeah, in regards to field actions, so this is the, we'll see some more field actions. This dungeon actually forces you to have Ashen in your party because you have to use his field action, Fireball, to blow down some of the environment to be able to get to the end of the dungeon. So if you don't have Ashen in your party, they force you to have him here. Oh man, that guy usually doesn't get in the way, but you know, sometimes he does. A lot of time can be gained and lost in this run just by, if you do a really good job at avoiding all the encounters you're supposed to and only fight the ones that you have to, you can save a lot of time. And I hate that I have to kill this worm, but it gives a lot of SP for this time in the run. But worms are jerks, really don't like them. So it's actually okay that Ashen dies. The death in this game, as long as it's just one character, isn't so bad. Your characters get revived after battle. And because there's no XP in this game, it's not like I'm losing out on SP by somebody dying. Yes, there was a remake of this game for Japanese mobile devices. Supposedly, they reworked how the battle system works. I don't know. Jeez, I'm writing everything here. I don't know how it actually works, though. How they changed the battle system. Have to fight this guy. There's no way to get around him. Alright, almost towards the land dragon. Oh, somebody asked what the Blue Sphere does. It's a crafting item. Well, there's a few things you can do with it. I use it as a crafting item, but you basically use it to get better items. So just as a precaution, I am going to heal up, and I'm going to save just in case. Being a Game Boy title, you can save whenever you want. So here we have the land dragon. I usually put land dragon in quotes because to me it doesn't look like a dragon. It looks like a whale with legs on it. So the way that we're going to kill this whale with legs is we use Selene, and we're going to kill its face with Windblade. And I have to make sure to keep the boss interrupted with Ashton when Ashton isn't dead, so I guess I'll be using DS instead. And I have to keep him interrupted just because the land dragon has an attack that can hit Selene even though she's all the way in the back. So just to keep Selene safe. Alright, just 3 or 4 wind blades, and he's dead. and we'll get a scale from it to prove that, hey, we actually killed it. All right, and we're just going to teleport back to our ship. Generally, it's the fastest mode of travel. And after a lot of bosses or a lot of dungeons, we do some skilling up, so I'm going to be doing that here. And to talk a little bit about skills, so I mentioned there wasn't traditional level ups in this game. Our stats are entirely determined by our skills. So you can kind of see that this skill gives me intelligence and dex and intelligence. For the most part, I'm going to be putting points into... Sorry, I already messed up. It's okay now. No. Shouldn't be a problem now. This one. Okay. Oops, no, I forgot to do Celine. So I have to be a little careful not skilling up. I did make a small mistake there. It generally doesn't cost it's not too bad except in certain situations. So everything, like all your stats are determined by what skills you put your stuff into. This is not where I want to be. Teleported to the wrong place, so let's teleport back. Ashton is pretty solid in this game. Well, for the speed run, there's a few reasons why we use him. He's generally pretty easy to combo off of. Ashton and Bowman tend to have pretty easy combos to do, and there's also we get a very, very good weapon for him that we use in the late game very easily. Like literally takes no time to do. It's on the way, and it's very, very good. Diaz is a little bit hard to combo with. He also has a very good weapon that would take no time to do, but he's a little hard to combo with. His main close range combo is just awkward and has weird timings, and it's just a lot more annoying to do with. Okay, so we got a pass to kind of continue on. We want to go to a particular forest later on because we've been told that's where they saw a ship get crashed. But before we can do that, we see some girl kind of getting harassed a little bit by some guards, and us being the good people we are, we kind of try to stop it, get in the way, but we get ourselves into a little bit of trouble. So they throw us in this place called the Levibor Ruins. And I'm not too sure if they break our bunny teleporter or steal it or whatever the case may be, but for the duration of this dungeon, we're kind of stuck here. We can't teleport out. What planet is this? The name of the planet is Ediface. And we'll be spending the whole game on Ediface. Our whole purpose of the game is to get off of Ediface. So, Levibor Ruins is kind of set up in multiple floors, and we talk to this guy and he'll unlock floors for us, but we have to do some fights. So I have a froggy to fight here. It's like a frog robot thing, and here I'm going to try to learn another spell with Celine, and hey, I learned a new spell. I learned Starlight. I will be needing Starlight, just not yet. That's really unfortunate. So that usually doesn't happen, but it's okay. How difficult was it to learn the game? Most of the difficulty was just from the menuing, but since I did have a run to go off of, the Japanese runner who I based my route off of is Mochigome, so I studied his route. and was able to figure out how to do the run based off of his. I had to take a lot of notes though, and I still have to refer to the notes to do the when I'm assigning my skill points into stuff, just because it's pretty. If you make mistakes, that would be pretty costly. So I still need to learn another spell with Selene. So let's move back further. Hey, look, I learned a spell. So this is a spell that makes Selene so good. Thunderbolt. We'll be using it a lot throughout the run, and we're going to start using it pretty much immediately. So a lot of the enemies, at least pretty much every enemy that we encounter in the Levibor Ruins, where we are right now, they're all robot types. Robots take extra damage from Thunderbolt. We can't spam it forever though, because it's pretty MP intensive. We only have about 100 MP on Selene, and it costs about 20. And we haven't made any stops to a shop that actually let us buy restorative items. Come on. Wait, you. Yeah, Akime pointed out, with these froggy robots, they become super annoying if I break their legs. Some enemies will change their AI patterns when you kill certain body parts, and a lot of times, at least for our purposes, the AI pattern changes are really difficult. Just to be safe, I'm gonna take another save here. This is a really easy fight, but sometimes this guy can troll you and just laser Selene in the face at the start of the fight. But that is not Thunderbolt, Selene. Wow. Well, it's a good thing I saved, because Selene's tired here, and that's not good. So I'm trying to do stuff with Selene right now, and she's just not... Yep. Okay. So, I did just save. That's a really good thing I saved. I'm not too sure why Selene got tired so quickly. It's probably because when I was trying to move her away from the fight, it considered her running away, or at least attempting to run away. Oh, I know why, because I'm dumb. So I was trying to cast Thunderbolt. I hadn't assigned a hotkey to it yet. Really? Really? Okay. So I should have already assigned Thunderbolt to Selene so that I'm not... I usually would have done it earlier, but I just forgot to. So let's just make sure that I have it assigned. There we go. There we go. See? And I mean, this guy should die in a single hit. Yeah, see. Am I allowed to say that's never happened before? Because that's never happened before. So, you can assign your spells and killer moves at any time during battle, but you can only have 4 assigned at a particular time. We won't be needing much more than 4, so it generally doesn't cost you too much, but it sure bit me in the butt right there. And throughout this dungeon, as much as I can, I'm going to be trying to kill a lot of these enemies with Ashen, just to make sure Selene's MP is conserved. Because I can only get about 5 casts off right now before I have to heal her MP back up. And throughout the dungeon, there's kind of a checklist of things I want to be getting. We actually revisit Levibor Ruins pretty late in the game, and they force you to get a lot of... there's 3 items that we'll be getting. There's key cards, which will open certain doors for us. There are seals that we need to... There's 10 of them that we need to collect to be able to, quote-unquote, beat the dungeon the second time around. And then there are... It's like SZM charges, which we'll also need. I think it's a total of 6 of them. So even though I don't need them right now, and I'm not going to need them for another 2 hours or so, I'm going to be collecting a few while I'm here. So I'm going to have to open up a few more floors, and with these first 2 fights, it's just easy to kill them with Thunderbolt. Really? Man. Okay, let's just use Leaf Slash. Most, like 90% of the time, they'll die to a single Thunderbolt, but since Celine doesn't actually have too much intelligence right now, she's not the strongest. It's just that Thunderbolt is really, really strong for us right now. So there's going to be 3 fights kind of back to back here. For a GBA, this is a Game Boy Color game. Just to correct you on that. But yeah, it is a full-fledged RPG. Like for a Game Boy game, a Game Boy Color game, that's really impressive. And if I were playing in color, the graphics would be very, very amazing. The soundtrack, as Sakuraba always does a good job at, is really solid. The basic combat, the basic fight music is hand to hand, and that's probably my favorite track from this game. This is like the boss music, and it's good, but I don't like it as much. So those are the 3 fights I need to do. It doesn't particularly matter what order I do these floors in. I just need to make sure I do floor 20 first last, since that's what we actually came here. That's how you get out of the dungeon, is by doing floor 24. To activate this switch. This guy doesn't see me. Oh, wow, okay. Usually I can get a preemptive strike on this guy, but he didn't feel like it today. That is fine, because he still dies in a single Thunderbolt. It's a little disappointing that it didn't come out on Game Boy Advance. So this is a very late entry Game Boy Color game. 2001. Hey, look, I learned Hurricane Slash, I believe. June 2001 is when this game came out. Just a few months after the Game Boy Advance released in Japan, and the same month that Game Boy Advance released in the US. And that's the reason why the publishers, Enix, I believe, didn't want to localize it in the US, because they didn't want to localize the Game Boy Color game when the Game Boy Advance was already a thing, even though I believe that it was originally planned to localize it over here. So thankfully, teleporting in this dungeon just puts me right at the end. Oops, that is the wrong floor. I'll have to fix that. I said it doesn't matter what order I do things in, as long as floor 21st is last. So here we see some more field actions. DS also starts out with the ability to push things. He can push things, but he can't pull things. So I just have to solve a basic little puzzle just by pushing some things around. Switch back to running. Oh, how rude. Yeah, so in terms of learning new killer moves, I didn't mention it because I actually don't need to learn any new killer moves with Ashton, but they'll be learned when you do combos. So which I'm pretty much always doing, I'm always comboing, there's a chance that I have to learn new killer moves with Ashton. You're probably only going to see maybe another one learned. So I learned Hurricane Slash, and There's probably a pretty good chance you'll see Dragon attacked, but unlikely to see any of the other ones because I don't go out of my way to make sure I get them learned. But learning new spells is important with Selene. Though, again, there's only so many spells that we actually need. Got a little unlucky in terms of my damage, and I killed its legs, which means he's just going to sit there and spam lasers, and he's going to do it so fast that it's pretty near impossible for Ashen to get in any attacks before getting a laser in the face. So if that happens, you just throw Thunderbolts with Selene at it. Hopefully it doesn't happen too much because, again, there's only so much MP I have on Selene. And it takes time to do it too. But hopefully every fight goes like the ones like that one right there. This guy is blocking the door. So let's just get a preemptive strike in it. The QPs don't actually move around. The way they work, at least these first ones we encounter, don't move around. They just stand in the spot and kind of turn their head back and forth. Also, we can block, and when you block, you can't die. Important to note, because I'll be blocking with 1 HP a lot during the run. Just gonna wait for him to shoot, and then get into an encounter with him. If he happens to shoot me, then he would get a surprise attack on me, and that's never good. Alright, so with this room, I have to push the blocks off the squares first, so I can get into the left room. I want this seal. So generally, when something happens where I don't kill something when I should, Leaf Slash will generally do the trick. I have to push everything back on the squares now. You start out the game with access to 8, so for story purposes, you cannot start the game out with Cloud Rena and Opera and Ernest, but over the course of the game, Ernest and Opera will be forced into your party because they are. Cloud and Rena aren't required, but they are certainly optional. For the speed run, though, we don't get Cloud and Rena because I have to actually go out of my way to get them, and that just takes time, and there wouldn't be characters I use. Cloud actually isn't particularly good in this game. He's okay, but the main kind of problem with him is just that you get him kind of so late in the game, and you probably have already spent all your SP on other characters that you'd have to do a lot of grinding to get him back up to speed. Though I believe Rena is pretty solid for if you plan to do like the post-game content, which is there's like a optional super dungeon that is very, very hard. What am I doing? Yeah, I'm pretty sure Cloud is pretty solid in Star Ocean 2. At least according to the speedrun. He seems to be. But I haven't actually, so I have a confession to make. I haven't actually beaten Star Ocean 2. With the exception of Star Ocean 5, just because I haven't played it yet. Star Ocean 2 is the only other Star Ocean game I haven't beaten yet. Oh man. So these sites are super frustrating, just because they're another enemy that is really hard for Ashen to do anything against. So I'm going to be trying to preempt every single one of them. The nice thing about them is they're generally pretty easy to get preemptive strikes on because their range of vision is pretty limited. they can only see directly above, or above or below, or to the right or left of them. So because I'm kind of at a diagonal angle from them, they don't see me, and I can just walk right up to them and get my preemptive attack on them. So here is the boss of this area. Abel will be seeing a lot later in the run as well, but for now it's a little bit of a annoying fight just because it takes a few Thunderbolts to kill. So I really want to make sure that Selene has enough MP to be able to kill it. Looks like this will probably only take 2 Thunderbolts. Okay, not too bad. Not too bad. So that's all we have to kill in here, but since there's a treasure I want later on, so I want to pick that up as well. This guy's kind of tricky to get the preemptive strike on because if I walk too far down, then he's going to see me. So I kind of have to be hugging the top wall there. Alright. Ah, didn't get the preemptive attack on him before he woke up. Alright. So this fight's a little tricky. How are we doing on my stats? Oh yes, Ashton's pretty solid. So the Lizard Man can be super easy to kill sometimes, but he can also pretty much one-shot my entire party. I'm going to be using DS actually, so this is DS's time to shine. Just because DS has really good range here. Okay, very good, very good. Good job, DS. So he does like one of 2 attacks. He does an attack that he kind of runs back and forth and then kicks you if you get close. That's a scary attack, even though it doesn't look that scary. And then he has an attack where he just sticks his face out at you and he can be super easy to hit. So, I'm done with this place. I'm going to learn how to... learning how to use a kitchen knife here, and then this one. Learning good eye here. Oops, need to go to combat. Level up his basic combat skills. Brush, parry. So I'm mostly putting points into this just because it's going to level up his strength a lot. Mental training. 6. And Spirit Force to 6. I am going to put a few points into DS here, just to give him the ability to be faster in battle, which can help out in certain situations. So now this is probably my our favorite part about Star Ocean games is crafting, but this is my more favorite crafting in this game just because of how easy it is. That's not Ashton. So Ashton, another reason we take Ashton is because he knows how to cook. And this is how you cook, by the way. So we bought some meat earlier on in a frying pan so we could do this. So we're going to be making some filet mignon. And this is how you cook. By the way, it's perfectly okay if you let the food drop on the ground. 5-second rule, right? Oops. I need to do that 3 times. So let's see how much we can let the meat drop on the ground. Oh, that's 1 time. I actually have to make sure to succeed here. So what I'm actually doing is just flipping, and by flipping I'm getting points if I make a combo off of it. I just need 170 points, which is super easy to do. So I can goof around a little bit. And goofing around doesn't actually cost me any time because the crafting always gives you like 15 seconds. So Now I can get to 170 points pretty quickly here. And then, look, I can let the meat drop. Drop. Okay, didn't want to drop this time. Doesn't matter. Yeah, the it's not pure RNG for item creation. In each item creation is a little different. Some of it's pretty hard, so that the cooking is pretty easy. But I'll be doing some crafting later on that I'll be banging my head against because it's really difficult. I could be good and do it really quickly, and it could take me a few minutes. Still a delicious steak. It's well, we'll see how delicious it is. So how much do you think that steak would sell for? I mean, I dropped it on the ground a few times, and I've made 3 of them. Wonder what price someone would pay. By the way, we're going to pick up a might chain here. Interesting thing to note. Another reason we're running this on Super Game Boy is because the item I get from that guy by talking to him changes based on what console you're playing it on. And it just so happens that Super Game Boy gives us a might chain, which is 30% strength is much better than, I think, 30% dexterity, and then 30% HP. By the way, we found Ernest. He was just chilling in a bar this whole time. He joins our party. Okay, so I'm going to sell this meat that I just spent a few minutes making. And what does every aspiring chef do with their newfound wealth? Well, I buy a bunch of bombs with it. So I just spent about 14k on explosives. The meat itself sold for 36,000 full. Also, don't fall into holes. So the bombs I bought are mostly a precaution thing. You actually don't even need a whole lot of money in this run, because they don't go to shops very often. Yeah, 12,000 full apiece for that item crafting. It's important to note that you don't really get money from encounters in this game, so you're pretty much getting everything from drops and then item creation, selling off equipment that you don't need. So this is another frustrating area, just because so you can kind of see we're climbing on branches here, and you can fall off them. And sometimes if you fall off them, you end up in a completely different part of the area, and I'm gonna save right here, just because it ends up being, in most cases, faster to reset than to try to figure out where I am, and I'd have to start back at the beginning. Also, these enemies are a little difficult. We're pretty weak here. I just had to spend a bunch of my SP on learning how to cook. But that might chain certainly does help out a bit. Oh, well, we got a little bit of bad RNG just because Ashton didn't hit the right things, but it's okay. Again, it doesn't matter if people die in battle as long as I get out of the battle. And with these birds, we just leaf slash them. I am super upset that you have a French translation. I don't have an English one. But yeah, I don't know the link to it. But if anybody, any French or Quebecois people, or just people who know French, want to give the game a shot, I think it's pretty solid. That's my opinion, even though I don't even know Japanese. I'm sure my opinion of it would be even better if it had some sort of English version. Okay, so this is a bad situation. So let's try to save ourselves. Alright, so the reason I bought the bombs is a precautionary thing, and that's because running away in this game is pretty dumb. So before I run away, I have to stun something, because running away in this game generally fails, and if you fail at running away, you have to try with each character. Your characters will all be tired, so your character's not going to be able to do anything for like 20 seconds, and because we don't really spend any of our SP on like defensive stats, and we don't have good equipment, that would be a very dangerous situation for us. So I'm gonna try to be safer in these fights just because I don't want that to happen again. Okay, well that's fine. I don't need Ashen to kill the beetles, though that would be faster. Celine can serve as backup as long as they're pretty close to dead, just by starlighting them. Continuing through on these branches, making sure I don't fall off. Another worm. Much easier this time. The first time we fought one of these bloodworms. Yeah, maybe I'll try that. I'll play the French version and have Mint translate for me. This is going to be our last Barn Beetle that we fight in this area. Well, not ideal, but passable. Good job, DS here. Useful once again. Another thing I can do is throw bombs at them, but bombs are pretty slow, and so I try not to use them, but in a pinch they can work out. So I mentioned earlier the reason why we're coming through this forest is because that's where we've heard, and now Ernest has confirmed for us, that this is where the ship crashed. Ernest and Opera's ship crashed. But on our travels, we find like a little resistance force. So these people are kind of at odds with the people of, or rather the leaders of Abacity, because as we saw earlier, they don't treat the people very well. And they're kind of plotting and planning to get power from the leaders of Abacity. In any case, they're nice to us and let us stay in their beds. But we need to continue on. Let me check something. Did I get lucky? Yes, I did. So, those beetles can drop some armor, and it would be very nice. It's very nice when they do. It's relatively common. They actually have 2 armor drops: one good armor and one okay armor. I got the okay armor, which is okay. It happens most of the time. If the game really likes me, it'll give me the, I believe it's Mithril Mail or Mithril Vest. That would actually be, it's much better armor than I could get for a while, but I'm going to be stuck on this resist armor for almost the rest of the game. Well, if you like Star Ocean, we will be, there'll be more Star Ocean to come tomorrow. After my run, I believe, is Infinite Undiscovery by Mocha. And then Star Ocean resumes tomorrow. Also, I do not like these monkeys. So, these monkeys are huge jerks. So they're actually a little annoying to kill because they have pretty good HP. But their main attack they move back, they pull a string that comes out of nowhere, and a rock drops on your face. You're gonna see it happen here. You're gonna get a rock to the face, and then they laugh at you. When they hit you, when the rock hits you, they laugh. How rude. Smug monkey. In my notes, I actually do have them listed as Donkey Kong because the Google Translate version of their names just doesn't make sense. I forgot what it was. So the body part I'm trying to kill is that central body. Oh, I might die here. Yep. So here, this is the reason I bought the bombs, because bombs act very quickly and they hit all the body parts. They don't do a whole lot of damage. That's Celine ate that to the face. That's okay. That's why we have bombs. You want a different color? Here you go. There we go. Is that color better? Thank you, Super Game Boy, for letting us change the color on a whim. Okay, I don't like that. That color is too much for me. I'm gonna go back to the teal. So hey, we found the ship. But we have a boss monkey coming up. Now, if I really wanted to, I could get into the Super Game Boy color scheme and I can change all the colors, but oh boy, I can end up with some pretty bad colors. So this is actually kind of a rough fight. I have to wait for him to kind of bang his chest. So please start doing that for us. There we go. And it's likely that Ashton isn't going to get out of this fight alive. So I'm just going to be kind of going between getting a few attacks off, blocking, and he starts banging the chest again. I can go for an attack. There we go. I'm messing up these combos. I'm going to play it safe. I'm going to throw blueberry. Just so I can eat another hit. Okay, good. It's actually good that Ashton makes it out of the fight. That means the fight went pretty okay. So there's something very subtle I'm doing there. Normally in a lot of fights, I am just trying to get a combo to last as long as possible. And if I don't kill the monster, or whatever I'm fighting, Ashton will end up getting tired. So what I'm doing there is I'm only doing like maybe 4 hits, intentionally stopping my combo. And with this fight, immediately when you're done attacking it, he will counter attack you with his spin attack. And by Ashton getting hit, even though it's getting blocked, I'm kind of regenerating my stamina back up. So I can just kind of go back and forth between doing 4 hits. It's going to attack me. I should be able to block all the hits, and then just rinse and repeat. If the fight doesn't go super well, though, like if I'm not able to block all of its attacks, this is annoying. He's just going to be spamming that attack. I have to throw a Thunderbolt at him. But if Ashton ends up getting himself killed because I get a little unlucky and the monkey sneaks in a few attacks before I can get my block off, then Celine and DS will just kind of be back up by throwing bombs and casting spells. So as long as Ashton can do most of the damage, then that's fine. It will regenerate with getting hit, whether your hits are getting blocked, or whether their hits are getting blocked, rude, or if you just take a hit to the face. It's also based on a timer. Okay. Getting a little unlucky with my damage just not landing in the right spots. Again, there's really no way I can ensure that with physical attacks that my damage is going to go to the right spot. With magic attacks, magic will actually always hit certain body parts. And that's part of the reason why Thunderbolt is so good, because Thunderbolt always will try to hit the middle part of the body, which for most enemies happens to be where their head is and where their body is. And if I can kill those parts, then the fight's over. There's a few fights, though, quite a few fights where the thing I want to kill is all the way in the back or in the front. and Thunderbolt is just not going to hit that body part. And that's where Thunderbolt kind of fails as a spell. It just doesn't do what we want it to. Alright, so I'm almost out of this place. That wasn't the actual boss, that was just another Atlas. They gave it boss music because it was a forced fight, but it was an easy fight. Now, we have an elephant that we have to deal with. But it's a robotic elephant, so you know what that means. Kill it with thunder. G-Abba. Not too sure why it's called that. So this is kind of like the land dragon fight where I'm going to kill it with Celine, but I do want to make sure it doesn't do anything nasty. So I'm going to keep Ashen in the front because it has a few attacks that it can do that would be very bad for Celine. So the main attack I'm trying to avoid is it actually has like a suction vacuum move where it just sucks in my whole party really close to it. And then he'll be able to whack Ashton with its tusks or its laser. But if everything goes smoothly, 2 or 3 Thunderbolts dies. Is this the first Star Ocean game? No, this is the 3rd Star Ocean game. So Star Ocean 1 is a Super Nintendo game. Star Ocean 2 is a PlayStation 1 game. This is a Game Boy Color game, and it is a sequel to Star Ocean 2. Released in 2001. It's a Game Boy Color game, but I'm playing it on Super Game Boy. Just another one of these dumb worms that I hate so much. So the reason I hate worms a lot is because they're really frustrating to get Ashton to get close to them. Because they like to move far back and they have a long range attack. So I'm kind of, there's no real good range for Ashton to be at. There we go. So I have to, there's like literally a single pixel that like Ashton can be at where I'll get one of my medium range attacks to land where it's not going to get countered. So here we are at Noosa Beach. You'll see some beach later on. There's some water. This guy is spending so much time trying to avoid him, and I don't avoid him. Good job. Oh, what did I learn here? Oh, here we are. Here's Dragon Attack. I won't use it, but there it is. I'm going to take a very subtle step forward that I didn't quite do. This could be bad then. There you go. So you have to take a step forward there before you start attacking it, otherwise it's going to fall down holes. Otherwise its attack is going to go first, and I didn't take a step forward. I didn't step forward enough. So that could have been real dangerous, but we managed to get through it. I'm actually going to avoid this next lightning horn by hopefully jumping on DS. You can make this. So I'm trying to jump over this. There we go. Jump over that. Sometimes it doesn't work out too well. Falling down a lot. Wow. Okay. Let's go up first. There we go. Good job. Team. Onward to the next city. So this is Banisu City. I'm not too sure if it's supposed to be like Banished City or something like that, but in any case, this is the first time that we actually get to see some restorative items that we're going to purchase, and hopefully this will last me throughout the rest of the game. So I'm going to buy a whole bunch of controller, please. I'm going to buy a whole bunch of blue and blackberries for HP and MP restoration, and then some syrups. Should last me throughout the rest of the game. I bought a stack of 15 apiece, which is the maximum of any particular item you can carry. Otherwise, I would fill up with pure syrup, which is kind of the best thing to like heals 74% of your max HP, I want to say. Like a lot of other Star Ocean games, the amount that you restore is percentage based with healing items. I should probably play it safe and heal up here. But with these owls, they died a Leaf Slash. 2 of them for this owl. Just gonna be safe. I don't want to die on you guys. Let's use some of those new found berries. Avoid those owls. Some of those plants are actually enemies. So if it looks a little silly while I'm like walking past plants. Ooh, this guy got us. No bueno. This is actually a harder version of the worms that we were fighting earlier. That's why. Let's see if I can stun it and just run away. There we go. Why is everything? That's not doing a whole lot of damage, so let's just run. Ooh, that's... Oh, I woke it up. Oops. It's not stunned for me. There we go. So, as I mentioned, running away in this game is really annoying to do, and every time I run away, I'm kind of like holding my breath because there's a very good chance it just doesn't work. If I hug this top wall, I get to avoid that fight. Did I explain why playing on Super Game Boy is faster? Well, I explained one reason. Though there's another much more important reason later on. The first reason I explained is there's kind of a NPC I talked to, and he, after doing the Levibor Ruins, he gives you an item. That item you get is based on what console you're playing it on, and just so happens the Super Game Boy, we get a Might Chain, which is 30% extra strength, and that's very nice to have. But there's another more important reason later on. I'll get into that once I do it. So this is the only time I'm going to be purchasing weapons and armor. We're going to buy some armor, and here we have some weapons. So armor for Ashton, and then a weapon for both Ashton and Celine each. Remember to put them on. There's a lot of times where I just completely forget to put this stuff on. Got some skilling up to do while I'm here. Goes to 8. This goes to 8. Spirit Force. It's this one. Enemy Perception. This is below the belt. It's a 3. Good first 8? Yeah, I did. Okay, I'm good. I thought I missed something. Celine, though, I'm gonna miss something. 3. It's to 4. There we go. Piety. Very important to get Piety to 4, as it will be important later on to make sure I can learn a spell with Celine. And just going to play it safe, heal everybody up, just all the important stats. Why is it a bit later? Basically, there's, well, I kind of explained it. There's an item that's that the game gives you that's very necessary to have if you're playing on the Super Game Boy version. It's a hidden area that's only available in Super Game Boy. It is possible to get it elsewhere, but it's either from a very rare monster drop, or you have to craft it. if I can find some way to figure out like some sort of way to manipulate the RNG of drops, then possibly that could certainly be a way to play on the play off of a Game Boy player, which would be the Game Boy Advanced. Oh man, this guy saw me. Not a fight I like to get into, but what can you do? So story-wise, I've moved over to the town of Knot. I guess it's more of a city. And we're searching for Opera, and we've kind of heard that this might be a good place to look. We went into the underground ruins, which is like a laboratory. This is kind of a maze because there's going to be teleporting rooms in a little bit, so it's very easy to get lost in. And unfortunately, there's two types of enemies that look like this in this dungeon. There's Abels, and I forget what these ones are called, but they're much harder, and that's why it's actually taking me quite a bit of time to kill them. I try to avoid them as much as I can, but that guy just had it out for me. These are the easier version. These are just the Abels, but except when they shoot me in the face. But look how much easier that fight was. Change weapons. So those guys will change their ammos. They have like 4 different ammos to choose from, and that's kind of their time to. Oops, and here's where I made a mistake. Yeah, okay, we're good. We're good. You kind of saw me that I had to cycle through which room I wanted to go to because I made a mistake, but with that particular room I can just kind of cycle back and forth till I get if I make a mistake to get back to the room I want to. Don't like this guy. I want to go left, so I have to wait for him. Come over here. Don't do this to me. Don't do this to me. There we go. My PB is like a 325-ish. And in the West, I'm the only person who's run the game. So, in the West, I would have the quote-unquote world record, but there is a Japanese runner who's run the game, and his time is like a 2:49, I think. So my run I do have a bit to work on to catch up to him. However, JRTA rules in the Western community usually use different rule sets. So Japanese runners typically allow for turbo controllers, while Western communities don't. So I'm just playing, I have a normal Super Famicom controller. I believe in his run he specifically announced that he was using a turbo controller. Anyway, I found Opera. That's what that lovely sound was. I also found someone else, someone that you guys don't know because her name is Rival. She is from this planet. And she is kind of important to the story. So we'll kind of see a little bit of who she is, how we came across her, once she actually talks to us. But for now, we just need to get that guy out of the way. And coming up on the boss, so I'm going to hit safe. So this guy could be a little tricky. I call him Steel Vein, because that's what the direct translation is. But he's the type of enemy that likes to move back and forth really quickly. And anytime you have an enemy like that and Celine doesn't do good damage against him, it's going to be a rough fight. So I'm going to try to land an attack with Ashton if I can. Oh, no, he decided to block. Okay, I'm going to play it safe. I'm going to heal up. That was a possible opening. See how he's just... he's not being too friendly right now, which is unfortunate. There we go. No. Oh, that's not going to be good. Even though I landed a hit, the combos wouldn't work off of that. I got basically too close to him, and I'd end up on the other side of him. So close. He's just dashing backwards when I'm about to hit him. These type of enemies are a little frustrating. I'm getting a little unlucky that it's just basically dodging everything. There we go. Didn't do enough. If I could at least kill his legs, then that would be good enough. Okay, killed this. Okay. Let's... I'm decided to revive Ashton there. I get a limited number of revives. I get about 3 throughout the entire run. Is this actually going to be doable? Yep, rip Ashton. Yes. Data face, thank you for the data faces. There we go. Oh, so close. It's actually fine. A bomb should be able to kill him here. This boss is super frustrating, yeah. It either goes super nicely. Good job, DS, you threw a bomb. You're the hero that we need. So yeah, the part of the body I was trying to kill was the one all the way in the back. Just didn't get the damage landing in the right spots and didn't get the... wasn't playing friendly to me by just dodging all of my attacks. But we got through it. We got through it. So, we're going to, well, I'm going to heal up here, actually. Well, a lot of times, that fight I can hit him on the first combo and he's dead. And actually, breaking the legs isn't always particularly nice because it can be a little tricky to get a combo going on. So most of the time, the fight just goes super smoothly, but sometimes the cards just don't have the right cards and aren't great. But in any case, continuing the story. So we got a stone from the not laboratory, and that's what Rival and Opera were looking for. So we're gonna talk to Rival. And she's going to tell us a little bit about herself. Unfortunately, this gets to be the part of the run that I start knowing less and less about because there isn't a translated version that I can read, and even there's not the guides don't actually talk about the story a whole lot, so I can only give little pieces of information here. So right now she's kind of giving us a backstory of how she came across Opera. So she heard the sound of their ship crashing, Opera's ship crashing. She went to go investigate it and started getting attacked by monsters. Then all of a sudden, Opera came out of nowhere. Let's see in a second. There's Opera. Opera saves Rival, so they became friends. Blah, blah. I think Mochigome is watching my run. Well, I said it before, but shoutouts to Mochigome because I base my route off of his. He is a runner of a lot of Star Ocean games in Japan. I think it's really cool that I really like this game. I think it's nice to be able to find somebody who did a run of this, so I could also. So if Mochigome, if he's watching, hello. I'm not as good at this game as he is. In any case, continuing the story. Let's go back to Banisu City just to do some story progression. we have to teleport back here just to talk to a guy that doesn't really tell us a whole lot. He just tells us, I believe this guy just tells us about an optional dungeon, Coastal Cave, which I actually don't do. Interestingly enough, in Mochigome's run, he actually goes to Coastal Cave to get a treasure it's an accessory that he used for one boss fight. But after a bit of messing around with, I found that it just wasn't necessary. So I'm just skipping it altogether. It saves like maybe 6 minutes. There's a few other slight changes I've made to his route, but even with that, he still has a much better time than I do. So, talked to one guy, told us about Coastal Cave. Talked to another guy, he told us that Knot was being attacked. So I'm going to save here. I'm just going to get in the habit of saving every now and then so I don't do something horrible. Please share your secrets. I mean, he's just really... His run is super smooth. You've seen I've made some basic mistakes, like getting into extra fights that I don't mean to. And a lot of his run is, I think, just better optimized by not getting into those type of encounters. So here we have those Varn beetles, the same ones that we fought before in the forest, but now they are super easy. We have to save the residents of City of Knot. Yeah, right now, since we're a bit stronger than they are, they don't do a whole lot of damage to us. He's probably taking notes. What a bad idea. But if anybody is, for whatever reason, interested in doing a run of this, I can publish my notes. They're a little messy right now, so I'll try to clean them up. But I can publish those for anybody who might be interested in the future. So these are all forced encounters, nothing we can really do about it. Here's where the battles start getting a little bit harder. These, you can't see it because I'm not playing in color, but these are harder beetles. These ones are purple. Just trust me on it. They're purple. They're a different color. That means they're harder. Okay, I'll work on publishing them. People would be interested. Oh, ooh. Ah, yes, I believe that is. I believe that's Mochigome's Twitch. Though his run, he usually streams on Nico. He is a Japanese runner, and he hasn't. He's not over on Twitch yet. I'd really like to see a lot more Japanese runners on Twitch. Speaking of which, Mocha is a Japanese runner who is on Twitch, and you'll be seeing his run of Infinite Undiscovery after mine. And I think we should support the Japanese runners making the transition over to Switch, just because it would be a lot easier for the Western community to communicate with them if we're all on the same platform. And Nico has its problems that I'll just leave it at. In any case, continuing the game. So the city got attacked because they want that rock that we took from the laboratory. So we're going to go to a cave where the beetles were coming from and kind of finish off some monsters there. And here is where the reason why we're playing on Super Nintendo and a few screens here. I'm gonna fight some beetles here just because I really don't like them and I want to see them dead. this room right here. So for whatever reason, this is like a hidden Easter egg. They even have it in the Japanese guide that if you're playing on Super Game Boy, that's a hidden room that you just don't have access to. So the Ethereal Queen shows up and lets you choose one of two treasures. You can choose between, I believe the left one is called Perfect Half. We don't get that. We want the blue sphere. And you know it's a good item because the name of the game is called Star Ocean Blue Sphere. So it must be important. It is like a metal that we end up doing some crafting with. There's a few things you can do with it. Many characters have their quote-unquote ultimate weapons gotten by trading in the blue sphere for something, for the weapon. And there's also some cool things we can craft with it. We decided to go with the crafting. And you'll see that later on in the run. I don't have the ability to craft that item yet. So we're going to take a back entrance to the Gravis Cave, just because it ends up being faster. But I need to make sure to heal up and save, just because this is kind of a rough dungeon because there's some dragons that can easily kick my butt if I'm not careful. Okay, please face the left so I can get a preemptive strike on you. Please die. No, it didn't die. Oh. Okay, well that's fine. We're alive. So ideally I would kill them in the first combo, but and sometimes the damage doesn't line up. Well, that's good. He decided to play a little nice with me. A lot of times, just trying to walk up to them and attacking them, most of the time doesn't work because they will counterattack with their tail. So it's really frustrating because Selene doesn't do a whole lot of damage to them, and it's hard to, if I don't preemptive strike them, then it's hard for Ashton to actually get in there to do some damage. So I have to kind of wait for an opening a lot of the times. There'll be 4 of those dragons I'll be fighting in this, unless I can manage to skip some of those battles. But there's most of the time there's 4 of those battles I do. I'm gonna have to play each one of those battles a little safe, just because each one is a little scary. So this is a Game Boy Color game, but I am playing on Super Game Boy, as many people in chat are. Excuse me. There we go. Damage, please go where I need you to go. Wow. 10-hit combo and you're not dead, but I think this will be good enough where Selene can finish it off with a... Okay, well Selene learned how to use Ray here, but I actually don't use Ray. Because Ray, a lot of the time, doesn't hit the body parts I want it to. So even though Ray is supposed to be an upgraded version of Starlight, we don't use it. As I mentioned earlier that spells will hit particular body parts. Ray just doesn't hit the body part I want it to. Ray will usually hit what's ever in the front row of the body parts, while Starlight, like Thunderbolt, hits the middle part. That's generally what I want. Since I've skipped over doing a optional dungeon from Mochi Goma's run, I have to get a little bit of extra SP, because before the next area after this dungeon, I want to make sure that I have a certain SP amount so I can learn something with Selene. So these fights are optional, but I want to make sure to have all that SP I need to. And these fights are super easy. These beetles are super easy. Another slightly harder beetle. Back too early. Okay, well, Selene, back up. Starlight should kill the head. There we go. Alright, so there's going to be 2 more dragons. Since Ashen took a beating, I'm going to heal him back up. I'm going to save just in case. All those blueberries. I'm opting to use the blueberries. At least the dragons are being nice because I'm getting preemptive attacks on all of them. They like to turn around really quickly. See, that's a good fight. If I can have every fight like that, it'd be great. Another one, another preemptive strike. Let's hope for a fight as good as the last one. Damage, please, thank you. Oh. Okay, well, we made it to the end of the dungeon, but even though that dungeon was really hard, this is probably the hardest boss in the game. I'm not too sure if this would be the hardest boss in the game or the final boss would be harder. It's something I debate to myself. But here we go. So, like the boss monkey that I was fighting earlier, I'm going to be doing the same thing where I'm going to not be doing full combos. I'm going to be doing like maybe 4 or 5 hits and then intentionally stopping, and then making sure Ashen is healed up after every hit, because take notice of how much damage Ashen is taking for a single attack. Okay, that was one attack. I just ate like 120 damage. That was my fault. I didn't wait for an opening. Wait, let's try to cast something. There we go. And this is another fight where I can kind of get trolled on where my damage is going to line up. Also, even though my attacks are landing, you might notice that I'm not doing any damage. So I can, even though my hits are landing, I'm missing the attacks. So that's something that can happen in this fight, and it's a little frustrating. But we just gotta slowly chug through this fight. We'll get there. A little bit more damage. This is why we bought all those restorative items earlier. Okay. It's getting a little scary, and what I'm worried of is I don't want the legs to die. If the legs die, I'm gonna have a bad time. Uh-oh. Okay, so this is scary. And that's why... so I'm going to... It's really close to dead, so I'm going to see what I can do by just throwing some bombs at it. When its legs die, he does a lot of that attack where he just does... He throws, like, explosives on the ground or something like that. I might be in trouble here. Okay, I happen to miss them. I'm worried. Okay, Celine, it's up to you. It's up to you, Celine. Her spells don't do a whole lot of damage, but let's pray for Starlight. I think I'm dead here. Yep, okay. And the reason why that fight went so poorly is because killing the legs off in that fight is just super bad. But I have no way of controlling it. But that's why we saved before it. That's disappointing, but we'll get through it. I'm being a little greedy. These nicknames are coming up with me. So the body part I'm trying to kill is the one in the very middle. Oops. or the head, but I've honestly never seen the head die. So I'm going for the middle body part there. Very slowly. Very slowly. You can do this. Unfortunately, Celine's pretty useless in this fight. She just doesn't do a whole lot of damage with her spells. Go, Ashton. You can do it. I believe it. Well, it's good that I haven't done a whole lot of damage to the legs. As I say that, I deal some damage to the legs. No, it's gonna happen again. Oh boy. Okay. Well, I'm blocking this time at least. Let's try something. Is it an opening? Don't hit Ashton, please. No. So I'm pretty much at the same spot as it was last time. Gonna use some assault bombs and Starlight with Celine. I probably shouldn't do both at the same time. That means they're gonna die again. Let's actually. Right now, I'd use my revive. It's like doing no damage. Okay, Celine, it's up to you. Yeah, this is... Oh, I'm blocking at least. Blocking. Nope. Yeah, like, this is... The fight becomes super unfair at this point, just because he's literally gonna spam this attack every few seconds. Well, not like this. This is gonna go... This is going so slowly. These bombs aren't doing enough damage as I want them to. Yeah, I'm just gonna have to reset. Celine isn't strong enough. The third time is the charm, right? I guess this counts as a spider. It looks more like a giant beetle thing, to be honest. Mechanical beetle with a guy inside of it. Okay. Okay start. Just keep it going, Ashton. I believe in you. So, the item that Mochigome gets, all it really does is knocks back the enemy a little bit. It's actually useful for this fight, just because if you combo too much, the reason why you want to avoid that is because then you end up being, if you like do a full combo, every time Ashton does his like overhead swing, he takes like a step forward. And he'll keep doing that until you end up pretty much inside of the boss here. And when he counterattacks, when you're done with your combo, he'll always do that like that headbutt attack. And if you're inside of him and you're not blocking, you're going to eat all 3 hits, and that means you're going to die. So if you get that accessory, it allows you to play a little more aggressively, but the idea is still the same, where you're getting some attacks off. You have to heal up after every single attack. Yes, we did it! We did it! Oh, I'm tired too, Ashton. I'm tired too. Okay, so that cost me some time. That cost me some time. The name of the boss is Aspera, or Asperus, I believe. Alright, so I need a break. So now we're going to report our success to Rival. Tell her what a good job we did. And she is going to reward us by joining our party. Though she's still an NPC, she doesn't actually join our party, but she'll come to the ship with us. And she actually wants us to go to Lang. I'm not too sure how she convinces us to go there, but I believe she says that it'll help us be able to get off the planet. As we kind of tell her, you know, what we're doing, and we let her on the ship, despite, you know, generally being against the rules in Star Ocean games is telling people that you're, you know, from space. You let it slide. Then again, I guess in every Star Ocean game they kind of break the rules, so... What rule breakers we are. I guess it would be a pretty boring series if they didn't do that, though. So I have to go down here before I can teleport. You can't teleport from inside towns. You always have to go outside of a town to teleport. So look, there she is. So now we have some very important private actions to do. Pretty much works the same as other games. During certain times of the game, I can get 2 people to talk to each other. So right now, there's going to be 2 I do. There's going to be a conversation between Priestess and Rival. I'm just going to have a girl chat. And Rival gives us the very important Tri-Emblem. And like in all the other, I believe pretty much every Star Ocean game it's in, it gives a bunch of stats to, increases all your stats. And now we're going to talk to Ashton. He's going to give us his quote-unquote ultimate weapon, and that's part of the reason why we take Ashton, because it's the Jean's Nails, I believe it's called. We're not going to use it yet, because its stats are based on Ashton's own stats. So once Ashton has really good stats, it becomes a really, really good weapon, but for now, we just keep it in our pocket. So I need to dump a whole lot of points into Celine. I need at least 1586 SP here. I had that much, so I don't have to do any extra grinding. So I'm leveling up the technical tree, which is Celine's tree for being able to craft things. And I'm also going to learn the ability to hover as a field action, which is very, very good. And you'll see why later on. It also increases her stats, which is, of course, very nice. Alright. There we go. 30 SP left over. And I'm going to equip that tri-emblem we got. That looks so nice. So to get to Lang, we teleport back to City of Knot. And there's, if you explored the caves before Knot, there would have been some rooms that you couldn't go in, doors you couldn't open, but now that we have Rival with us, we can, you know. So first, or rather on the way, we want to learn hopefully our last spell with Celine. And we're going to learn Eruption here. Hopefully I do it very nice. The first cast. I mentioned earlier that learning new spells is random. Our Refresher, I needed to make sure Celine had a certain number of intelligence and MP, and once I've done that, she has the ability. Oops, I didn't mean to pass that again. She has the ability to learn new spells. So I had enough intelligence to learn Eruption there. Eruption is kind of her mid-range fire spell, but for us, it ends up being a very good fire spell. And be using Eruption and Thunderbolt. Pretty much those two spells throughout the rest of the game, whenever we need something done. I'm doing a bad job at running around. It's my voice robotic. Yes, I didn't know there was a French translation until a few days ago. I believe Akime pointed it out to me. So let's hover around. So now we can hover with Celine, and we're going to use that a lot in a few places in the run, just to make quick work of certain sections. Two leaf slashes here should do the trick on this gargoyle, I believe it's called. They look more like a wind dragon, but I believe those ones are called gargoyles. The area in this music, this place is called Scream. It's generally a fan of the music in this game, but I just don't like it in this this area too much. It's just very not exciting. We have a cockatrice. Birds are jerks. This bird can turn you into stone, so he's a real jerk. You need to kill the birds that are jerks and then fall off. A little bit easier if I hover over there, so I can then avoid the theta there. Yeah, the animation in this game, it's Game Boy Color, so a little bit better than Game Boy. Animation, the sprites, the music, the backgrounds are all very good. Oh, well, it turned me to stone. I think I casted the wrong spell there. Meant to do Thunderbolts, because birds are weak to thunder, but you know what? Starlight killed it. Pick up this treasure. It's going to be 2 treasures. This room that I want. Avoiding those guys. Those are actually really hard fights, so it's kind of important that I don't fight them. So Rival here is going to activate the teleporter for us. The default location for the teleporter is an inn. We don't need to go there, but we know that we needed to go to the 2nd floor. There's actually some pretty good items I can get in this area, but I would take a little bit too much time to explore. I'm gonna save. I've had a few bad interactions with this guy, and he could end my run. So I worry about that guy because if he shoots me, it enters a surprise attack. And surprise attacks with that guy can literally just one-shot my whole party. Hovered over to avoid the 2 monkeys there. Those are the same monkeys that we encountered as a boss earlier. So we saw that they were jerks. So this is a pretty interesting dungeon. So to progress through this dungeon, we're literally moving the entire floor of each floor that we're on, so that certain staircases become useful, or just go to different locations. So it's a pretty neat puzzle, and that's one thing I really like this game for. Oops, is how unique the dungeons are. You can really do a lot of exploration in them. Also, I learned Thunderstorm, which is not really what I wanted to do. Bye, Celine. Well, I'm not having the best of luck this night, but I did save just a few minutes ago, so I'm okay with that. Not even a few minutes ago. That generally doesn't happen, but I was being a little greedy with that fight. Normally 2 or 3 leaf slashes on those guys will take care of them, but I decided to, for whatever reason, I decided to do some combos against it, and it didn't work out, and then I kind of paid the price for it. So yeah, don't do new things. Don't try new things is the message here. Oh, hey there, Mitch. Successfully unlearned Thunderstorm. There you go. I'll probably learn it still. Alright. Gonna fight this guy for revenge, for honor. I don't even have to fight him, but again, I'm going to be taking fights that aren't out of the way just to get some extra SP. 3 leaf slashes. He has it really out for him. And they do give pretty good SP amount. Come on. Push the block. It's possible. It's possible. I think it's a really neat idea. Maybe I just like, because I generally like Zelda games, and a lot of these dungeons kind of feel a little bit like Zelda games, in my opinion, where you kind of have to trudge through them the same way. Alright, thanks for sticking around. All these treasures I'm missing. So this guy, I'm gonna try to... he decided to troll me a bit. So I mentioned these type of enemies can only see in one direction. They can, or rather, they can only see in cardinal directions. They can only see if I'm like directly above or below them, or to the left or right. And I was trying to pull it off to, I was trying to lure it to one area, and then I was going to run past it, but he decided to trick me. Oh. I have to take the time to kill them. Okay. In the past few runs I've done, those that left bowl decided to get in my way, and it never does that. So I decided to just play it safe and wait a second there, just to make sure that I wasn't going to get into an encounter. Because it's actually a scary fight. So upcoming here, we have a Minotaur that we're going to be killing. And it's going to be another fight that we will rely on Celine to kill, but I really need to make sure Celine stays alive, so Ashton is going to be on super bodyguard duty. And I'm actually going to equip Hurricane Slash. You generally don't need to use skills too much with Ashton, but Hurricane Slash does a pretty good job at interrupting enemies. And he's actually being kind of nice so far, because he's just walking backwards. Normally what I'm scared of is, like the bull enemies, he has a charge attack that he likes to spam over and over again, and he can easily reach Celine even though she's all the way really far back. I'm just going to do this, knock him back a little bit. A little preemptive there, but just playing it safe. Okay, this guy was super nice, super nice. He only did one charge attack, and the rest of the fight he just walked backwards. So I'll take that. I'll take that fight any day. All right, so we're arriving at Lang, which is that place that Rival wants us to go to. But why does she want to come here so much? Why does she want to come here so much? If I knew more of the story, or more details of the story, I would love to tell you. But I do need to make a quick stop to the shop. And there's going to be an item I buy here. This one, called Magical Rasp. It's an item that... Did I buy 2 items? Yeah, okay. I bought it. I accidentally bought 2 items there, but it doesn't really matter. I won't be needing money for the rest of the run, really. I do need that Magical Rasp, though. Otherwise, crafting will be kind of hard. So it's an item that will... It's kind of a supportive item for crafting. For metalworking, which is something that we'll be doing in a little bit with Celine. That's what we use the blue sphere for, actually. Alright, so we get caught out by some guards here. And this is probably the longest quote-unquote cutscene in the game. I have some nice dialogue between this guy, Rival, and yourself. And he just does a lot of exposition. Again, I don't know the exact details, but for the gist of what he's telling you is he's telling you about the world, Ediface, and telling you about Rival. So he tells you that on this planet, every so many thousand years, life on the planet gets wiped out. So the people on this planet are pretty technologically in advance, but then there's all these places that are technologically advanced, so you kind of question that throughout the game. And he is revealing to us that Rival is actually going to be the one that is going to carry this out. So a little bit of a twist. We can see it on her face now. Rival looks a little scary, and she shoots the guy with some sort of energy bolt, and yeah, he dies. And now, for people who like Cloud and Rena, you'll see them for maybe 10 seconds here, so get a good look at them. Look how nice they look. So Cloud and Rena are got a distress call from you, and they're coming to save you, but oddly enough, their ship crashes into the planet as well. What is it about people just crashing into this planet? Yo, anime. A cloud. Okay, so this guy, these fish alien things, I'm not too sure what these things are, I'll be honest. I can tell you that they don't want the planet destroyed, so they're going to help you out. So this guy is telling us to go to the city of his people, and he will give us some underwater breathing apparatus so that we can get there. It literally is an underwater city. So if you actually look at the planet, on the planet it's called a blue sphere, and the name of the game is called Blue Sphere, pretty much because most of the planet is water. There's a small section of land, and that's where we're actually running around. But these guys live underwater. Yeah, why didn't they make Blue Sphere into an anime? They're actually, so what little I do know of the game story is actually from the manga. For those of you who don't know anything about anime, manga is our Japanese comics. So, like second story, there exists a manga of Blue Sphere. Blue Sphere didn't get an anime though, unfortunately. I actually didn't like the anime for Star Ocean 2 too much. Um, I'm not too sure. I mean, there's probably a million reasons. I think the manga for Blue Sphere finished, but the translations of Blue Sphere didn't. So there's only so much of the manga I was able to read because, again, I don't speak Japanese. Be something that I'd like to learn, but I am playing this game and I don't know the language. So if you guys want to play Japanese games, it's not too hard, really. This is a Game Boy Color game. Ooh, this guy saw me. Okay, we ran away. Anytime I get into a fight that I don't want to and I have to run away, I'm like holding my breath. I'm like, run away. So, this dungeon is gonna be really quick when I don't fall off the cliff. So, Celine does know how to hover, so we're just gonna hover. And this dungeon actually would be pretty long because there'd be a whole lot of different floors I would have to go to be able to traverse through this place. But interestingly enough, if I just hover and land on this ledge, I just skipped like 75% of the dungeon right there. Hey, here's another bit of dungeon I'm skipping. There we go. And now we're at the boss. So this boss is, it's called a Leviathan, but I don't like this name too much because, as we'll see in a second here, he's actually a shark. So Leviathan's a shark. And also, he's not even like a lot of other bosses we encounter. They end up being normal enemies later on, but I mean, it is kind of a hard fight if I didn't have Thunderbolt. So like the robots earlier that we fought and why Thunderbolt was so good, we're going to be going through this dungeon and the next dungeon, which is kind of split up into two parts, are going to be underwater. And fish tend to not like electricity too much. So thunder tends to be the spell we're going to be using. And somehow we end up in the city of Aqua. I think the Leviathan pushes us off the ledge or something there. This guy actually is nice to us, he'll heal us. But we got some plot to get advancing. First though, I'm gonna make sure I have some... in this room we can find some reviving potions. So those are pretty hard to come by. Yeah, good level design. Actually, the dungeons in this game are fairly well designed because depending on who you have in your party and what field actions you have available to you, you have to go through the dungeon differently. So there are certain things that you can solve really easily if you have certain party members in your party with certain field actions. There are going to be some areas that you just can't get to and you have to revisit later. So I think that they actually do have good level design. But unfortunately, with that particular dungeon, they probably don't expect you to have hover as early as we do. Maybe a small oversight. So here we are in Axe. And this is kind of another cool dungeon idea that we'll be skipping a lot of the dungeon. Oh, I was going to try to avoid this guy. Ooh. I meant to do Eruption, but I forgot I haven't equipped Eruption yet. Eruption being that spell we learned a little bit ago. So here we get to see some cool spell animations. Yes, this is a sequel to Star Ocean 2. It came out in 2001. June 2001. It actually came out technically after the Game Boy Advance. It's kind of why we got we Westerners didn't get it over here. It's unfortunate. Ideally, I could have avoided that fight, but he gives good SP nonetheless. So the whole thing with this dungeon is there's going to be a puzzle I'm going to be solving in a little bit, and the puzzle actually changes. The solution to the puzzle actually changes each time I play the game, and the idea behind solving the puzzle. Hey, Thunderstorm actually did good damage there. The idea behind solving the puzzle is there's like 4 mini-bosses in this area, and the solution to the puzzle has 4 answers. Each of the boss gives you a hint to solve it, so the idea is you kill the 4 mini-bosses and then you have the answer. And you can't just cheat by remembering the answer because it changes every time, but I'm going to be brute forcing the answer. You'll see what I mean in a little bit. And these blood crabs are super easy because they die to thunderbolts, just like everything else, almost everything else in this dungeon. So this first part is pretty easy just because I can hover over the disappearing floor tiles. Otherwise, I'd have to kind of pay attention and then fall down some. So here's the puzzle. So the answer is going to be, there's a combination of 4 left and right doors. Wow, I solved it on the first try. So normally, you don't get it on the first try, but what happens is the answer is 4. It's a combination of 4 left and right doors, and there's one solution. So for there, I think it was left, right, but it could be left, 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 right, left, left, some combination of them. And I brute force it just by going at it, and I know when the game tells me that that I'm incorrect. So sometimes it takes me a few attempts because I have to go through like left, okay, that was the wrong, right, that was right, so right, left, right, left, right, left, right, you get the idea. Not world pace. Don't get excited for that. It would only take me like maybe a few minutes, and even if I was on some kind of world record pace, this part would probably ruin the run for me. So here we're going to have some crafting, and I'm especially bad at this crafting, but we'll see how it goes. So I'm going to be metalworking, and by metalworking I mean just rubbing some metal back and forth. You'll see in a second what mini game this is. I'm literally just going to be rubbing a piece of metal and with like some sort of item, and it will turn into another item that I want. And it's very important that I save here because chances are I'm not going to be able to do this on the first try. So I need to do this right here, and what am I? This thing. Okay. So here we go. Rubbing. Wow, I did it on the first try. How nice. So, I needed to get at least 300 points there, and that's generally pretty hard. This one I only need 200 points. This is the blue sphere. Well, let's see how high I can get, though. Wow. It's like I'm good at this game or something. So there's 2 items I just crafted there. One of them, I turned the blue sphere, which I got earlier and I made a big deal about, into an item called a Force Booster. And right here we see, this is a Force Booster, int 2, and then some moon runes after it. What do you think that means? Well, I'll give you a second. It means int times 2. We just increased our intelligence on Celine by 2. Really, really good. And then the other item is called a Thunder Yellow, and that increases Celine's thunder damage by 2. So, the end result is Thunderbolt was doing some pretty good damage before. We kind of just increased its damage by 4. Or, sorry, multiplied it by 4. So, yeah, we're still in the water area too, so these guys are gonna, or at least everything except these dumb bats, are gonna take extra damage from And I should probably save, because that could have ended badly. I increased her damage by 4. Yeah, that wouldn't be too exciting. These water dragons are a little annoying just because they move around the screen randomly, and they're hard to predict. They also have a chance of killing Celine, so I have to play super safe. But they're supposed to be pretty hard. But excuse me. Oh, I know why I'm doing less damage than I should be. I'm pretty sure I forgot to equip an item on Celine. So did I really forget to do that? I did. So earlier in the area Scream, I picked up 2 treasure boxes that had 2 items in them. A weapon for both Ashton and Celine. I just completely forgot to put them on. So this whole time, Celine has been doing a little bit less damage than she should have been. So now Celine is going to be doing a lot of damage. Oh, yeah. Save. These people saving to run. So those, I'll save here. Those water dragons can be a little scary just because they have like a wave attack they do that, it goes pretty far, and it can hit Celine if I don't move her back far enough. And this next room is fun just because it's I think the first room we've seen that you have to kill all the enemies, or there can't be any enemies on the screen, and then the doors will open. But when you run away from enemies, assuming running away works in this game, the enemies are removed. So I'm just going to fight both enemies and then just immediately run away. Because these enemies actually, I can't just straight up kill them, because they actually have, a whole bunch of HP. So it would actually take quite a few casts of Thunderbolt. Even though our Thunderbolt is kind of ridiculous, it would take quite a few casts of Thunderbolt, like maybe 3 or 4. Yeah, I don't like Celine's outfit in this game. I believe the manga artist for Star Ocean Second Story and Star Ocean Blue Sphere, it was the one that is the character designer in this game as well. But man, if I haven't talked enough about the battle music, I love Hand to Hand. That's the battle music we're hearing right here. I really do. Oh. Okay, good, I got past them. Those sharks were actually the same Leviathan we just fought as a boss, some minutes ago. So in this dungeon, my goal here is to pick up there's like explosive charges that I need to open doors. They're not, we're too cool to use keys. Instead we use like small explosive charges to like blow off the hinges of doors. At least that's the way I understand it. Here we have a hat for Celine. Celine's hat is a little silly, so let's give her a new one. There we go. Here, you can have a better hat, Celine. Unfortunately, it doesn't change the sprite. Yeah, she didn't do the character designs for Star Ocean 2. I believe she did the manga for Star Ocean 2. And she did the character designs for Blue Sphere as well. I believe that is correct. I can't remember her name. Oh yeah, Azuma. Ayumi Azuma. Yeah, I forget his name as well, but he was unavailable for some reason to do the character designs for Blue Sphere, so since she had done the work for the manga and Star Ocean 2, they just kind of got her to do the character designs. I thought she did a pretty good job. Whoa now. Let's keep the chat PG-13. Where am I? There we go, jeez. Sometimes I get a little lost on what field action I have selected, and I forget what order they're in. Poor cute Piku. In any case, I'm just picking up some more. I'm caught in the corner now. There's like seals that I have to use to open up doors. Gotta love that Leviathan death animation right there. Those bats, I actually think they're supposed to be crows, but let's just call them bats. They're really annoying. They gotta move randomly on that screen, and there's some pretty tight corridors that I have to traverse through. Here, I have to be able to open this door. Hopefully they don't see me. I forget something. Oh, okay, no. That's really dumb. Like, you saw how much to the right. I was too far over to the right, so I had to like move like a few pixels over to the left, just to get to be able to kind of have the area of the door that I want to have selected. Adventure bats. Well, we don't have to kill the bats, so there's not adventure bats. So instead we just call them jerks. Alright, 2 more water dragons down, and here's another grab. Sometimes this crab doesn't die in a single cast. Should be a little unfortunate. Okay, no, it does. And let's check out my... I'm gonna play it safe. Give him a little bit more HP. That'll be enough. We have another boss coming up. Just like everything else, especially with how my run has been going tonight, I'm gonna save. So this is a water dragon looking enemy, but this is Leviathan, or sorry, Poseidon. Both my melee characters down. It actually should take 2 casts of Thunderbolt to kill. He's playing friendly though and just doing he's not advancing on Selene, so the second one should kill. Another reason why Thunderbolt is so good is because it's such a fast cast. A lot of the later spells tend to have really long cast times. And since Selene has such low HP, if she ever gets touched in this game, she's probably dead. So it is important that I'm able to get her spells off really, really quickly. Eruption is kind of a longer cast, but it's a little more powerful. Depending on what you're writing. Alright, so the whole reason we were in doing those 2 mini dungeons is we're releasing some friends of the alien fish people. And they're going to help us out get to Selene. So we see Selene here go to... she took the thing that was sitting above the city of Nott. It's kind of like the saucer-looking thing, and she flew it over to Abyss City, and now she's firing lasers at them, and she's kind of parking on top of the Levibor ruins. So the next dungeon we go to is back to the Levibor ruins. It was that 3rd dungeon we went to, and we're gonna have to go through Levibor ruins just to get to the plate. That saucer-looking thing is called Grand Nott. So we're gonna try to put a stop to her. A little bit of text to go through. Alright, looks like we're done. Right, okay. So there happens to be a convenient exit that just puts you back at Noosa Beach. And from there, we can just teleport back to the ship. And so, DS has had a pretty good run, but he's not going to be with us for too much longer. And we haven't seen too many of the other characters. I know we saw a lot of Bowman in the last run, and he's going to contribute for this run as well. He's not going to join our party. No, that would be too much. We already have Ashton. We don't need Bowman. But there's another private action available here. It's only like at the small portion of the game, and he's going to have a conversation with Celine, and he's going to ask us a question. We want to make sure to answer the second option. He gives us one of two items. He gives you an armor or a stick or a rod for Celine. So by selecting the second option, we ensure we get a rod. It's like 40 more magic power than the one that we were just using. So, okay, bye. That's all we're gonna see for the rest of the run. Let's teleport back to the ship. And we're gonna put Ernest in our party. Now, Ernest isn't good as a character really, but he has one field action that we're gonna use. And he can see hidden items. And DS has been doing all the running around in this game, so we're gonna finally teach Ashton how to run. Apparently he didn't know how to run before, so we're gonna teach him. This one here. Okay, that's it. And I'm going to put on the new... I believe the item is literally called Magical Stick. So I'll just put on the stick. That's all I should need to do. Since we got a new character in our party, I need to make sure to turn off his AI because nothing Ernest does in battle is going to be useful. So I want to make sure the AI doesn't do anything dumb for us. Now look how fast Ashton can move around. I'm going to teleport back to the Levibor Ruins. And we're going to have to find a way to get up to Grand Knot. So if you remember in the cutscene, on top of the Levibor Ruins was Grand Knot. We need to figure out a way to get there. So I mentioned earlier that there's the items that we need to have collected. So there's 10 seals that we need to have. And I have maybe 3 of them. So I need to go to all these other floors to get these seals, and that's what you're going to be seeing. So it's all these floors I'm going to go to. It doesn't particularly matter what order I do them in. I just have an order that I like. Oops. So this floor we're going to is actually pretty easy. These are the same atlases that we were fighting earlier, and look how much more damage we're doing. Before, only Celine had enough damage to kill those guys, but now we just... a single slash with Ashton will do the trick. Oops, unless they didn't run away from me. So there's going to be a few floors that are really easy, and a few floors that actually have more difficult enemies. I'm going to lure that guy out. It's 2 paths to take. I'm going to take the up path. Ooh, guy almost shot me. Puzzle here, just your kind of standard button puzzle. This one's pretty easy. There'll be another one that's a little bit harder. Look, the door opens for us. Solution is always the same. There we go. And generally at the end of these floors, there are these teleporters that will teleport you back to the back to floor 72. Yeah, Priestess actually. I'm thinking about experimenting with a route that actually uses her. So in the tasks, tool-assisted speedrun, she gets used basically instead of DS. The way Priestess learns most of her spells are through her machinery crafting, and she can learn dashing and hovering, which would take out the need for us to having to learn hover with Celine. So that would certainly save us a lot of SP, and we can instead focus into Ashen or focus into actually raising Celine's stat more instead of kind of being forced to raise it in skills that don't increase her intelligence. It'd save a lot of SP. But the problem with that is not only is it a little tricky to do, it's also RNG based. There's like even if I successfully craft an item with Priestess, there's like a 1 in 4 chance it actually gives me the thing I want, and I have to do it twice. And I kind of have to go out of my way to get some of the items. So the task can do it, no problem. I might experiment with it a little bit to see how difficult it would be, though. And because of that, you get the access to hover quite a bit earlier. The task also does a lot of other things, like the task can make sure it gets the drops at once. So it's able to get a blue sphere very early on in the game, and it's able to craft very early on in the game. Yeah, I know. I failed at a few spots in trying to get Aether to run Star Ocean 3. I will own that responsibility. Another one of these puzzles. This one's a little bit harder. Oops. So here I have to fight this salamander. This is actually a really easy fight, but it hopefully will not be a fight that we see Paralyze on. Paralyze is an annoying status effect, not because it actually paralyzes you, it more of is a slow, and for whatever reason, they just, okay, we're not going to see Paralyze, good. It makes whatever actions you do very, very slow. So I would run around slow, only for that battle. I would attack slow, like my animations are twice as slow. Even if I were to do a killer move, the animation for Leaf Slash would be twice as slow. Just kind of dumb in my opinion. Alright, so floor 227 is kind of an annoying floor. There's a lot of things I need to do and a lot of back and forth. I will get to use hover to make this part a little bit easier. Something, well, when you don't fall. Okay, well I fell, and that just puts me back to floor 72. I might as well take this time to stop by the beds to heal up, just because I fell, but anytime I was saving by hovering instead of doing the solution to the puzzle, it's just lost there. Let's go back up to floor 227 for the first time, totally the first time. Let's try that again. Actually make it over there. So by going over here, I'm just getting a key card. And there's a certain number of key cards I need to be able to open up a certain number of doors later on. We're just going to hover back over here. And so this floor has a lot of buttons that I need to push. There's like time switches and then switches I have to activate. So this one is the main switch I'll be hitting over and over again because it's on a timer. Oh, you can see that the timer already went away. It's kind of like 4 areas I need to go to. And there's hidden switches under boxes too, which is a little frustrating in my opinion. To be able to find that casually, you just have to open up all the boxes, I guess. Yeah, all the characters from Star Ocean 2 are in this game. In the speed run, we don't see all of them though, but she does exist in this game if you do want to play her yourself. Back over here. Back to this room. Both switches yet again. And in this room I have to... Ooh, that guy got into an encounter with us. I want to make sure to be blocking with Selene here. There's a chance that that laser can actually kill Ashton if I'm not at full HP. You saw it just did like half of Ashton's HP there. And if they get these guys get a preemptive attack on you, then if I'm not blocking with Selene, there's a good chance that everybody will just wipe. And when I was first learning this run, I had a problem with that. But I've learned that even if you get surprise attack, you can block some of the attacks with Selene. Not with the other characters. It's probably because Selene's way in the back and it gives her more time to block. But from killing those guys, I get one of those key cards I need. So why do we use Ernest? I mentioned that he has a field action that can see hidden items. This item is pretty okay. We mostly get it because it's kind of on the way. Oops. Have to be... Okay. Now I'm getting confused. Which one is it? I must have kept skipping over the field action. That's kind of silly. Well, that was a little embarrassing. Took me forever to find that item. We'll just totally say that it's RNG, but it's not. That's just an excuse. So with that, that's the bunny boots, which we put on Selene and increases her battle speed. It gives her a little bit of stats, but mostly we want it because it makes her twice as fast in battle. And we put that in her because generally at the start of every fight that we use her in, we need to move her way to the back. So you'll see that here. I have to move her way in the back. See how much faster she is. And that just makes it so I can get her to a safer place much faster, and hopefully avoid situations where with those Titan guys, they can open up the fight just by shooting a laser at you, and the bunny shoes can make it so that she can move away in time. Most of the time, this guy's a jerk. Usually he doesn't see me. And I need this seal. So there's a seal pretty much on, I think, every single floor. One seal on each floor. How are we doing on our Yeah, we're doing fine. Our HP. Just running through my head to make sure I've gone through all the floors I need to. So now there's 2 basement floors that we're going to go to, 12 and 13, and they're kind of linked together. And this is where we get to see some water-type puzzles, where I have to be kind of making some water come out of a gate and then setting up some doors so that the water's in certain spots so I can get to certain treasures. This part's a little tedious just because it's a lot of back and forth. And there's not even a whole lot of enemies on this floor, so it's purely just figure out the floor, figure out this puzzle. So earlier I mentioned Dias didn't have the ability to push or pull things. Since we've been leveling up Ashton, he thankfully has the ability to both push and pull things. I'm not too sure how you can learn how to do one but not the other, but I'm not going to question. So I had to set up a gate first so that the water would stay here and I can get this treasure. It's one of those seals I need. Now I have to lower that gate, but before I do, I need to set up another gate here so the water's not going to flow anywhere else. Need that key card. Now I gotta get the water to flow all the way to that bottom section, so I have to come back up here. And we can get this treasure now, which has one of those SZM charges, which I'll need 6 of them. For the next floor, so the next floor is floor basement 13. So I'm on basement 12. Next floor is basement 13. To be able to kind of finish basement 13, though, you need to get some water into it, and you can't get any water onto the floor itself. So what you actually do is you make the water fall from basement 12 to basement 13. So the easiest way to do that, while still being able to get all the treasures I want, is to kind of finish floor basement 12, reset the floor by leaving it, and then coming back into it. And then, so there's no water on this floor anymore, it disappeared. And then just coming over here and making the waterfall. So you're going to notice that's just going to drain. That's no... Goodbye, stream. Check. We good? Rip 5 seconds. Okay, as long as the stream isn't dead. Making sure it's okay on my end. So another area where you just push boxes around. At least this puzzle rewards us. So this is actually going to make all these boxes turn into treasure. And there's certain treasures that we want out of this. We actually get some pretty good stuff. We need one of these SCM charges, but so you have to solve this. But we get a diamond here and a star ruby, which is a diamond and star ruby are going to be crafting items. So all these SZM charges that I've been collecting, they're kind of like batteries to charge this thing. This guy saw me because I wasn't being quite fast enough. Those are harder versions of those froggies that we fought a lot earlier on in the game. Good, I didn't forget any. If I forgot one of these, it would be a little tricky to figure out which one I forgot. But the gate opens up, the water drains. Able to get this treasure. It's another seal. And so that's where the water comes to from Basement 12. We want to be able to get to this area, which has some key cards that we'll need. There's actually some interesting routing that could be done in this, because there's a lot of extra key cards that you have access to get, but you only need so many of them. So it's possible that there could be quite a bit of rerouting done in this whole Levibor Ruins section. It's something I'm kind of interested in looking into. Gotta make the water come again, so we can get to this last area. Let's move quickly enough so those guys don't see us. And once again, okay, come on. Celine, you can do this. You can fly. There we go. Section is kind of trivialized by just being able to fly around. There's a few different ways you could do this. You could use like a hook shot, which is something that I believe only Priestess has. Teleporting, hovering. I think there's a way to do it without all that as well, but hovering makes it super easy. So it's another elephant, robot elephant. And Thunderbolt. We're still doing like 4 times damage with Thunderbolt. Eventually I will actually be getting different accessories that increase other elements to do double damage. Oh, Ernest, yeah, Ernest can grapple too. I forgot that. Yeah, he has I mean, his whip is kind of his main thing. Alright. So, I'm pretty much done with this area. There's one more floor I need to go to, and all those key cards I've been collecting. There's a lot of doors I need to open up here, so if I don't have all the key cards, I can't go through all the doors, and then I don't get a seal that I need. Alright, well you have yourself a good night, DDR, and I will see you on tomorrow. Everybody make sure to tune in for some... I actually, what time is your run tomorrow? Is it early on in the morning? All these doors need keys. Just so I can get this one treasure. One seal I need. "9 a.m. Eastern Time." I'll try to be up for that as well, and I think everybody else should. Star Ocean 4 is a fun run to watch. Everybody should enjoy DDR getting a little salty. So, done with all the floors now. Go to the final floor, which is where I use all these seals I've been collecting. And you have to put them in one by one. The nice thing is, if I make some sort of mistake and I forget one, the game is kind enough to tell me which one I forgot. So even though it's in Japanese, I can easily figure out which one I forgot. Which I have done a few times. Yep. Just gotta put each of them in, a little tedious. before I put the last one in, I'll remember to heal up and save, because we have a boss coming up. It's another easy boss, but gotta be certain that can't rip the run just because I'm bad. I don't actually need to heal up, but I should save. Alright, it's time for Chimera. This guy's another robot. Pretty much everything in Levibor Ruins is a robot. But here we've kind of unlocked the getting into Grand Knot from the ruins. Rival tries to stop us by sending... This is actually could be a really scary fight. He has a lot of really nasty attacks, but he's kind of susceptible to anything ranged, and really susceptible to Thunderbolts. That was a single one. Look how much damage that did. If I wanted to, I could have just walked up and hit him with Ashton, but it's just safer to kill him with 2. Alright. Chimera down. Now, we didn't do enough crafting earlier, so it's gonna be some more crafting we have to do. We're going to get some pretty good items, and we're gonna make Ashton even more of a powerhouse. So here we are in Grand Knot, and I really like the Grand Knot music. Is it this one? This one? Okay. Probably should recognize which field action it is, but here we get Mithril. First, I want to heal up. Save, and let's get to crafting. Alright, let's see if I can do as good of a job as I did last time. So, first is gonna... Let's just do the Star Ruby first. I need 300 points here. It's actually pretty hard, so I'm gonna get myself ready for it. Oh, so close. So close. I needed 300 points there. I was like 4 points shy. Crafting. Crafting and Star Ocean games. So all I'm really doing here is... Okay, it's good. That was actually really good. Pushing up and down a lot. There's many different ways to acquire points, but a lot of them are too hard, so the easiest way to do it, and kind of the fastest way, ends up just being push up, down, up, down, up, down, really, really, really quickly. 100 times, actually. Will get you 300 points. So let's save, do it again. I need to do 3 items here. Off to a really good start. Wow. Wow. Sometimes I do it really well, and other times I just struggle. Okay, last one. This last one I actually need 310 points. Yeah, here we go. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Ooh, this is not going to be it. I struggled at the beginning there, and it has to be really good. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. I have a weird setup I use to hold my controller, and the way I have to hold my controller to be able to do it, I have to both hit A to start the crafting, and then with my right hand, and then move my right hand over to the D-pad to mash. The highest, I don't think you can get that high. The highest like points that you're getting is like 300 and 310 in some cases. Okay, ooh, 315, that was pretty close. So there are 3 things I crafted. So I got the Force Booster earlier, which doubled my intelligence. Now I have the Atlas Ring, which doubles my strength. I also made 2 items that kind of work like Thunder Yellow in doubling element damage. So I have Flame Red, which, as the name implies, doubles fire damage, and then Light White, which doubles light damage. So this can be a frustrating boss to do. Okay, well that's why we save. All inputs count. Because there's other ways to do the crafting. I'm just resetting because that was a really bad fight. I did put on the stuff and then save, right? Yeah, okay, we're good. This is a Game Boy Color game. So this is kind of like Steel Vein in that it's the same enemy type where he's going to be dashing back and forth. Or he's just going to stand there for me. So if I can actually land a hit on him, super easy, because Ashton has like 250-ish strength right now. Yeah, getting the hang of doing the combos in this game is a little tricky. To remind people, oh man, this guy saw me. To do the comboing in this game, you have to land an attack, and then there's like a small window where you actually see a little star, and then hit attack again. And everybody kind of is a little bit different. The reason why we used Ashton, part of the reason we used Ashton, is that these guys are seeing me all over the place. Part of the reason we use Ashton is because his combos are just very easy to do. Yeah, the reason why most people aren't familiar with this game is that it never made it over to I was supposed to go up there, and instead I went down and ran into this guy. Sorry, Ernest. If you know French, there is a translated version. You could probably find that on the internet. So Grand Knot has a lot of different floors in it, and if you've been paying attention, I haven't touched the armor I've been using in a very long time. I'm still on that resist armor that I put on maybe some 2 hours ago, and I've been complaining that my characters have been really weak this whole game, but we're gonna get some pretty solid armor in a second. It's a Seraphim armor that we'll be using on Ashton. It's gonna massively increase his defensive stats. So making a little side trip here just to get that. Ideally, none of these gold titans would see me. Wow. Ideally, none of those would see me, and Celine wouldn't die at the start of the fight. Okay. Luckily, I didn't waste too much time. So that was a little frustrating. Ideally, I'm trying to avoid a lot of these fights, but it's a little random in terms of if they see you or not. Sometimes just they don't happen to see you and they let you walk right past them. Sometimes not. There's always kind of, see, like right there. There's not much I can do to avoid that. So I'm making a mental note to play more safely with Celine. I just have to move her back further back in the fight, so if they do open up with that laser attack, then she's far enough away. It's a little frustrating. And that's part of the problem with this speedrunning this game, is that for a good chunk of the game, your characters are so have such few defensive stats that something like that can happen. So back to where I was. I said I was going out of my way to... I'm going to save here just in case. Well, now they're being nice and not seeing me. Okay, well, they finally caught wind of my plans. Okay, so you just need to move her back far enough that she doesn't get one-shot by lasers. Alright. Just lure him out to sneak past him. This guy sees me for some reason. Let's throw some MP onto Celine so she can actually cast her spells. Yeah, if you have Levitate or Teleport, you can get over to this area. And the game does a really good job at encouraging you trying out multiple people if you really like exploring stuff. And you have to use different party members to be able to kind of explore every single area in the game. You can see there's a chest over there that I think you can only get to if you have Teleport. Oh, I got some armor. Let's not forget to put that armor on. So we just like increased our armor by like 80, I think. And so getting through Grand Knot, I'll be revisiting this area next. We kind of get kicked out. There's a lot of these rooms that I have to, basically I'm moving the room, like kind of changing the layout of the dungeon a little bit. So it's a little bit of a puzzle to figure that out. How long is the ending to this game? From final boss to JRTA timing is 5 minutes, so I'm completely okay to cutting that off if we're kind of running short on time. Okay. These dragon warriors don't move around. They instead just teleport to get into your way. So to be able to, like, you just have to walk through the rooms to get past them. If you run, they'll like teleport right in front of you and you're going to get into an encounter. They're kind of hard fights, but I mean, generally we can just kill them with Celine as long as Celine's in a safe spot. They probably would have done longer if they had the room on the cartridge to do so. Didn't die in a single Thunderbolt. They're not weak to Thunder or anything, I just happen to do that because we still have the Thunder Yellow equipped, so our Thunderbolts still hurt quite a lot. And it's a quick cast. Have to pick up this key card to open the door. And I'm going to play it safe. I'm going to heal up. We do have a boss fight coming up. It's not the hardest fight ever, but if I misplay, I get myself killed. Alright, so here we're fighting Rival. She kind of does this annoying thing where whenever you go to attack her, she jumps backwards, but as soon as she gives an opening, you just need to whack her a few times. Really easy fight. So Rival is like kind of the main protagonist. Did we just finish the game? Just finished the game like 45 minutes ahead of estimate? Just kidding, no, this is not the end. There's still a little bit longer. So that was like just a clone or robot version of herself, or hologram, something. She still exists. And she's gonna kick us out. We have to find a way to get back into Grand Knot. I lied. Sorry to deceive everybody. So here we see Rival lift off the Grand Knot. How are we gonna reach her now? Well, we take the sage advice from these weird fish alien guys. We'll see in a second where Rival ends up actually going. And again, the fate of the planet is at stake here. So Rival is going to be kind of wiping out life on the planet, as is done on this planet every so many thousands of years. So where is she going? Oh, well, this is a Star Ocean game, and we haven't really been in space yet. So as a good compromise, there's a space station attached to the planet that she's going to go to. Not too sure how we didn't notice there was a space station attached to the planet earlier, but there is. So how do we go up in space when all of our ships, all 3 of our ships, are broken? Well, luckily the space station has some sort of space elevator attached to it. So that is our ticket up. And before doing so, I haven't leveled up in a while. And this is actually a kind of a recent adjustment I've made to make the next few seconds quite easier. Just gonna be dumping a lot of points into Ashton because I need him to be really strong throughout this next area. Here we go. So we're actually going to be raising our HP here. Okay, that's as far as I can get. Depending on how many like extra fights I've taken, it kind of varies on which point I'm stopping at. It doesn't particularly matter, I just kind of dump all my points, and then I'll finish it off later. Ooh, okay. So these are the same enemies that I kind of got into a little bit of trouble with, and I had to got myself killed and had to refight. So they're a lot easier now. We increased our stats. Probably have like 350-ish strength, maybe close to 400. We actually have some decent armor and have reasonable HP now, so they're pretty easy, even though just maybe 20 minutes ago I got myself killed on one. Hall monitors are active, making sure we don't run in these rooms, so I have to walk. They usually don't do that. They usually don't put themselves right in front of a door. That's a little rude. All right. Here is our first space elevator. There's a boss right after this, so I have to heal up. Yeah, we're fine. And I'm gonna save just in case. I hopefully shouldn't need it. Alright, 3, 2, 1. Space elevator. Or space shuttle. It gets us halfway to space. Let's say that. This next boss I find a little frustrating. It's a 2-part boss. And that first form is like so annoying. And in my notes, the way I had it set up to beat him, at least because I was basing it off Mochi's Gourmet run, seems to not work a lot of the time. But I found that Celine does a pretty good job. So if I can, I'll see if I can land some combos with Ashton. But if he decides to turn into a plane and be a jerk, I'll just use Celine then. So this guy's name is New. And I have to kill him twice. Okay. Turning into a plane. So, like, when he's a plane, he's, like, stupidly hard to hit because he just moves a lot. And he fires lasers, and does that. So, just nail him with some thunderbolts. Okay, cool. It's killing him through his shields. So he's going to turn into his second form, and he's going to do a lot of punching and kicking now. I find this form, this part, wow, okay. Did a lot of damage. Supposedly, I golded that segment. All right, another area that we can just hover over. This game would be free if I didn't make mistakes. Yeah, I didn't get a chance to punch because I actually started casting Thunderbolt before he even changed to his second form. So as soon as he changed to his second form, Celine had her Thunderbolt already cast. He doesn't always die in one hit with Thunderbolt. Usually it takes me 2 if I'm just relying on Thunderbolt. So got a little lucky on our damage there. So if you like these, the Google Translate version of these enemy names are Eldorados. Kind of silly. I think it's supposed to be Elder something. But for now, I'll just call them Eldorados. I do believe they are actually gold. Why aren't you... Okay. Why are you casting Fireball, Selena? And I just need to kill them so they open up doors. So they open up doors. Wait. Now I'm confused at my timer. I think I messed up my timer. Not your guys' timer. My timer. Yeah, be sure to stick around for Infinite Undiscovery. This guy saw me. Am I dropping frames? I have to walk through this room because we got a hall monitor. Now we're gonna slaughter 7 of these Eldorados. Who is doing Infinite Undiscovery? Mocha is doing Infinite Undiscovery, a Japanese runner. I'm sure somebody can type in exclamation point try Ace to get a link to his Twitch. Try not to talk during eruption. So these fights are a little repetitive, but hopefully each fight goes kind of like this one. Alright, just like 2 or 3 hits, I get a preemptive attack. Super easy, super straightforward. Because I have to, I think it counted, I have to do like 21 of these fights total, I think. I have 4 fights left, I want to say, with those Eldorados. These guys won't wake up until you break both those boxes for whatever reason. There's really not anything like that at any other point in the game, so I find it a little odd. Oh no. Yeah, these are pretty straightforward fights. They're same enemy type as those Atlases we've been fighting earlier. They have some different moves, but they don't live long enough for us to see them. The nice thing about having to slaughter all these guys is they give some crazy amount of SP. 80 apiece. At the before the final boss, we'll be just dumping a lot of points into stuff. All right, one more room. Need to remember to save before this next fight boss. It's awkward when that does happen. So sometimes that'll happen where my combos will get messed up because it's dashing at me and I'm going to do a dash at it. So I end up like literally inside the enemy, and if I start doing a combo, like I'm just going to start missing because I'm not hitting its hitbox anymore because I'm literally going to end up behind it. Kind of an awkward situation you can end up in. Okay. First, I need to equip Light Bright here, which is this one. I'm going to save. I'm also going to make sure Celine has enough MP. Just kind of on the edge. I need usually only 3 casts, but sometimes 4. So this guy, if you look at his portrait in the bottom left, he looks awfully like a chicken. So he's a bird enemy, right? And his name is literally Diablo. So if you want to talk about jerk birds, this is a demonic bird right here. So for anybody who is a subscriber to RPG Limit Break, you can feel free to post your RPG jerk birds. Must cast out this demonic beast. And being a demon, he eats a lot of damage from light-based attacks. There we go. Alright, just one more boss left. So I'm going to take a nap in space. So we have an inn that's on a space station, and they charge us some money to sleep there. For whatever reason, these guys just don't aggro you. Not really too sure why, to be honest. Alright, back to having great music. They're taking an escalator up, and this can be a little bit of RNG. Let's see what happens. Okay, this is average RNG. So there are 3 paths there, and you can literally end up taking up. There's one path is getting into a fight. The other's a treasure. The other one just teleports you back down to the bottom of all these escalators I just traveled up. And I've gotten trolled where I've had to like go 4 times in a row, just go back up and up and up and up, and each time it just teleported me back up. So at least we got through it. Yeah, there's a lot of these rooms that look really similar, so I have to think in my head, am I in the right place? This is good. This is good. But I have to. There's a door up there that I have to open up, and just by kind of going through these, I was hoping that he wouldn't see me, but he decided to see me. At least they give good SP. I think these guys give 77. So I'll have plenty of SP at the end of this run. I'll lure this guy down. So now, the door I'll be able to get to. I have to walk. Okay, make sure he didn't teleport in front of me. Another hall monitor. Oh, and he got us. Okay. Well, ooh, I should have done Starlight instead of Thunderbolt because Starlight, I have the Lightweight on. That's double the damage, so this isn't gonna kill him. Generally safer just to have Celine kill them because they do a lot of damage and they dash back and forth, so it's a little frustrating to try to get an attack to land with Ashton. In this room, there's 3 of these accuracies, so it's generally just easier to them to be a jerk and have to have Celine kill them. Not too sure. I guess I messed up my combo. I didn't feel like I messed up my combo, but I guess it messed up. I did not have my hall pass. That's what those guys are for. Oh, what did I learn? I can't read katakana that quickly. Dragon something. That one I've only ever seen once. This guy's down here. More hall monitors. Okay, one more. Actually, no, this one. Just gotta remember which way to go. Alright, last fight that we'll be doing for the final fight. Yeah, it's probably Dragon Bite. That makes sense. So this last area of the dungeon, we teleport to this last area, and it's has much harder enemies. There's harder hall monitors, and some pretty nasty flying dragon things. But we're going to kind of trivialize everything by just flying straight up. So this is kind of a lengthy area. Oh, I'm going to take a detour over here so those guys didn't see me. Okay, let's keep flying up. All this area, no walls to get in our way. And okay, in the next room, we have the final boss. So, gonna continue my leveling. I had left off at, I think, body sense. Beauty. 8. Alright, let's switch to Celine. What do we need? Mental science. Medical knowledge. So I'm wanting to make sure Celine has a lot of intelligence, so she's going to need to pull her weight in this next fight. Just dumping a lot of stats into her. Piety, where are you? Here you are. Biology. Let's see what we have. switch back to you. I think I can put a few points into here. Okay, we're out of points. Ooh, and need to make sure to equip the Flame Red, which is this one. So we'll be using Eruption in this fight, so I guess Twitch doesn't like Eruption. You'll be seeing it a lot in this fight. Which one? You gotta make sure to have enough MP. Okay, here we go. Save. Alright, final fight, Revival. She actually has 5 different forms I have to go through. So this first form, I'm just going to wait till she transforms into one of the other ones, and it's actually random which one she's going to choose. Hopefully, let's see what I get first. Beast is pretty good. Oof. Let's just reset. So, Beast normally is a pretty good form to transform into because Beast form tends to do that, where she charges at you. Most of the time, though, when it's her first form she transforms into, she can't quite reach Celine, but she got Celine there. So I'm just gonna... It'll be faster just to do this instead of trying to get Celine revived. Let's see what she does this time. Not the ideal one. Or wizard form, so I'm gonna wait for her to start casting something. Ran out. I've locked off some of her attacks because I killed one of her arms. She's okay. So this is something unfortunate. I'm pretty sure she can't do any other attack. Oh no, she still can. So I'm gonna eat. Really? I'm going to take the time to revive Celine because she's in a safe spot right now. So I can get her revived and she's not going to die immediately after. Not a whole lot I can do about that. Where my damage isn't landing on her body. Oh, that's really unfortunate too. So I'm going to have to kill that later on. She transformed, and when she transforms, she's going to come back at full health. It's frustrating, but the beast. So here's the power of Eruption. Sorry, Twitch, because it's not the bit rate isn't gonna like it, and you didn't die. Eruption. You're always supposed to kill. Yeah, well, that's something. Let's. Oh, that's super frustrating. Normally, the fight doesn't go this badly, but what can you do, I guess? Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on in the background with Eruption. So, okay, rip Ernest, but that's fine. See, that's usually what happens when we first form is Beast, where Celine can make it out. She'll hit Ashen, but it'd be a lot easier if this game was in English. I didn't mean to cast the spell here. Welcome back. As far as I can tell, I'm not dropping on my end. The stream throws a fit? Is Eruption breaking? Is Eruption really breaking Twitch? Well, that'd be funny if it was. It usually doesn't happen on my end, but probably because of maybe it's going through Beam first, because of our setup. Okay, yeah, so it's Beam throwing a fit. Come on, she's so close to dying. Okay, Celine. Busy being a floor mat. I imagine Beam would have problems with, really? This fight's going really poorly. I just need to focus. And this is probably one of the worst forms for Celine to die in because she has a crazy amount of distance that she covers. Are you kidding me? Ashton needs more stamina. Yeah, that's a big problem with this run. Normally it's not this bad, but okay, Celine, please don't die. Thank you for being nice. This is totally no. This is a little bit of me playing poorly, and sorry being sorry. Okay, here we go. Hopefully you guys can see this. There we go. There we go. Got it. So if you guys can actually see the stream, you guys, some of you are a little upset that there's not enough Valkyrie profile in this game, or sorry, in this marathon. So there's your Valkyrie profile in Star Ocean Blue Sphere. It should look a little bit familiar to fans of Valkyrie profile. Also, she has an attack that instantly kills you, even if you're blocking. You guys at least get to see this. There's really nothing I can do about it. And Selena's tired. So Ernest, it's up to you. Lead the good people to victory. Play super duper safe, and then a lot of times, oh my god, I can't believe I just used. Okay, run away. Sometimes if you run away too much, you get silly situations like this where you can't see anything on screen anymore. So I guess you guys really wanted to see Valkyrie profile. And who gets tired again? Well, if at any point, I mean, I guess I'm still under estimate, but if at any point, this is the final fight. There's pretty much just the ending after this, which is about 6 minutes. Really, really annoying. This, which is about 6 minutes. Really, really annoying. Are you kidding me? Okay, Celine, get to the back. That is not the right spell, Celine. You can see the difference in damage between... See the difference in damage between Eruption and Thunderbolt. I cast Thunderbolt there. If I cast Eruption, Beast form would have been dead. So I'm going to do something I haven't done yet. So there's my revives. I only have 2 revives going into this fight. Okay, this is ideal. Please don't shoot me. Thank you, thank you. Just give me 1 cast. 1 spell cast. Sometimes you need a second, and sometimes that'll happen. Hey, like, come on, just be nice to me. And I don't even land my attack. There's nothing I can do here. Because unfortunately, Celine, of the 4 forms she can transform into, so I need Celine for 3 of them. Ashton can really only kill the wizard. Just, all I need 1 cast, and it's not doing enough damage. Wait, what am I doing? What am I doing? I'm casting a spell. Be wizard, not ideal. See, that's how easy the wizard is. The knight is usually, so Lenneth is usually the one that usually lives through an eruption. Please die. Thank you. Good job, dragons. Okay, see, Eruption, 1-hit kill. Thank you, Celine, for not dying. 1-hit kill. So what's... This is the last one, right? This is it. This is it. Oh. We'll get through it. We'll get through it. And then this is technically the final form where she turns back into normal rival. I'm gonna play, just be super safe. I'm gonna make sure Ashton is fully healed. It shouldn't be necessary, because she does such little damage. And she just spends most of her time running away. That's an annoying attack she does, actually. I hate to say, guys, rip estimate. So the estimate is normally I had set the estimate for 3 hours and 45 minutes, which is a good hour longer than Mochigome's run. So it just shows the difference between myself and Mochigome. My PB is about 20 minutes faster than this, and I still have probably at least 15 minutes I can easily shave off. But it's a pretty rough run, just as you can saw in the last final fight. So, a little bit of ending story. Rival, after we destroy her, beat her, she reveals to us that, yeah, she, as mentioned earlier, she's kind of set to destroy all life on the planet. But there was a few moments of lucidity, I guess she had, where she was able to kind of do a few things on her own. She actually was the reason for all of our ships crashing onto Ediface. And the reason she did that is because she knew that we had the power to beat her and stop her from from destroying life on the planet. So this is like, I'm not too sure what this is. It's like some computer program AI thing that's connected to Ediface, and it's the one that's controlling the whole Earth, or the planet being destroyed. So that's where like a normal RTA run would end. Since I'm using JRTA timing, it's going to go on for about another 5 minutes. So we're looking at it like about a minute over estimate. Rough explains a lot of Tri-Ace runs, yeah. A lot of I struggled with a few spots. Final fight certainly didn't give me any pleasure. Thanks Keegan for pointing out that I made a mistake and unequipped the Force Booster when I was putting on the Flame Red. Definitely not something you want to do. So we're just making our way back to the ship and being introduced to these characters that I've literally never seen before. Who are these people? And Aspera, that's a little more expected, and I didn't have to reset as many times. But obviously in a good run, you wouldn't rip to those. I still have a lot of work to do, and just get a little bit better luck. Just to give myself a little bit of an out. It wasn't entirely my fault. So interesting, I mentioned there's a TAS of this run. It actually uses, it still uses Ashen and Celine, but it uses Priestess instead of Dias, and it actually used Chisato a little bit to craft some stuff. Craft some really, really good weapons really early on in the game. But that crafting would be way too hard to do that early on in the game for a normal human being to do, since it's like all skill-based. You made it, and that's what matters. Did make it. So we got a nice Priestess and Ashen cutscene here. Still a little bit of that like love triangle where Ashen likes Priestess, Priestess likes Cloud. Cloud and Rena have a thing. Most importantly, the planet was saved. I mean, we were just trying to find a way off the planet, but I guess like as a good a good side effect to that. We managed to save the planet. Save the world. Not too bad. Uh-oh. Overestimate. Just mash faster. Okay. So it's about another minute or so before we get to see the end. See the lovely credits written in English for us. And I get to be done with mashing now, so thankfully, no more mashing. Sound, Sakuraba. Shoutouts to the music in this game. Music, except for a few areas, is really, really good. I really like the music in this game. And it's really impressive. This is a Game Boy Color game, and they were really able to do a really, really good job with the way the game looks and the way the game plays and the music. Well, this is only going to be a minute over my estimate. My PB is about 20 minutes better than this. So, I mean, you can kind of tell that I made a lot of mistakes. In my PB, I made a few mistakes as well. So if I just get more consistent, I can get pretty close to 3 hours, I feel. But shoutouts to Mochi Gome. He has a really good run, a really good time. It's almost an hour better than mine. Produced by Tri-Ace, presented by Enix. Darn you, Enix, for not porting this over to the West. Okay, so I'm gonna end the timer there. We see the end screen. JRTA timing is done, almost 2 minutes over. So we can move